Welcome to Boca Raton, Florida. We are at FAU for a little Conference USA matchup, and we are bringing that to you exclusively on Facebook. It is homecoming here at FAU. They are fired up. As you see, the band, the cheerleaders, the team feeling good after last week's win at FIU, ready to take on Western Kentucky. We got WKU, we got FAU happening here in Boca Raton, and we are bringing it to you live on Facebook for the next few hours. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Kristen Balboni. I'm your sideline reporter. I'm also your Facebook reporter, and here's what to expect from a game that's broadcast exclusively on Facebook if you've never seen one, or maybe it's been a little bit. We want to hear from you this entire game. This game is all about you and what you, the fans and viewers, have to say. So there's a couple of ways that you can contribute throughout this entire game. First and foremost, comments. We want to hear what you have to say. I'll be reading your comments. My broadcasting partners up in the booth will also be reading your comments. So keep them coming all game long. You can also send us some Instagram pics. So here's what you do. You use the hashtag WKUVSFAU. Send us a picture of how you're watching. Maybe you got some gear on. Maybe you're watching at home. Maybe you're here in the stadium. Let us know. Send us those pictures, and you're going to see them during this broadcast. So again, that hashtag is WKUVSFAU, and we have a lot coming your way on this Facebook broadcast. We are going to have some Facebook polls all game long. We want to hear from you. We're going to be asking you questions. We hope that you will weigh in, make your vote count. We're also going to get to know FAU tight end Harrison Bryant. We got a little fun. Had a chance to hang out with him yesterday, got to know him a little bit better. Bowl season is on the horizon, so which CUSA teams will be going bowling? We're going to break it all down, and we're going to tell you more about FAU safety Jalen Young's absolutely incredible journey. So FAU is coming off their biggest win of the season against FIU last week in the Shula Bowl, and they love getting that Shula Bowl trophy. Like Kevin said, that's how we should have been playing all season long, is how we played last week, and they were fired up afterwards. So fired up that we wanted to show it to you. Check out this little Instagram story of last week's win over FIU. As you see right there, that was right after the game. Them running toward that Shula Bowl trophy. It's such an iconic trophy. FAU's helmet on one side, FIU's helmet on the other, and the winning team usually likes to rip off the other team's helmet right there. You see them celebrating right after that win. That's in the locker room. We were told that it was a party in the locker room, not just because of the score, but because of the way the guys played. Lane Kiffin said he was so happy about that. And you see right there, it looks like it. And then there it is for the second straight year. The Shula Award is hanging out in paradise, as they call it here at FAU. So FAU is hoping that that momentum carries them throughout the rest of this season as they try to become bowl eligible. On Western Kentucky's side, it's not been a season that's been too great for them. They are winless in conference play so far, but 4 of their losses have come by less than 3 points this season. Head coach Mike Sanford says, we know no one is giving us a chance to win this game, he said, but if we execute on some plays and we make the plays that we should, I think we can go in there and win this thing. And he said, you can't undervalue the importance of getting a win for my guys right now. So for more on this matchup and this game, I'm going to send it up to the booth, my broadcast partners, Chris Essel and AJ Hawk. Guys.
Great setup, Kristen. Thank you so much. FAU hoping that it has salvaged the season with the victory last week at the Shula Bowl against rival FIU. Let's take a look back.
Regardless of record, you can throw that out the window. It's both sides are going to get up, and it's just kind of one of those things that you just don't lose FIU. You just don't.
Let's play fast, bro. Know your assignment, know your responsibility, bro. We can't take no next week, man. Let's get this done, man.
Here's a give, Willie, right on an end around to the 40. Give to Singletary, makes a man miss in the backfield. Slipped a tackle, up the middle, dives through the end zone, lost the football, fell on it, touchdown FAU. Is he into the end zone? Yes, he is. Touchdown, FAU. Devin Singletary. Lobs it towards the end zone. Wants Durant, and he caught it! 9 yards deep in the end zone. Touchdown, FAU. Johnson takes the snap. Handoff White. Running up the middle to the 5 into the end zone. Touchdown, FAU. Here's Lane Kiffin. Florida Atlantic's up 3. Touchdown. The Owls are pursuing. Morgan running backwards. He's back to the 14. Looking for someone to throw it two, fires it across the field, intercepted at the 46-yard line. Jalen Young waited for it, caught it right at helmet level, and the Owls are starting to feel like they're back to vote for a time with the trophy that's fully there.
Back to back. Back to back.
Stadium's coverage of Conference USA football exclusively on Facebook. Unseasonably hot day in Boca, but the sun is going down and we're cooling off at night. FAU Stadium, just 3 miles from the Atlantic Ocean for FAU homecoming against the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, still looking for their first win in Conference USA. Welcome up to the broadcast booth with the Super Bowl champion, A.J. Hawk. I'm Chris Hassel. We were there to call the Shula Bowl last week. The best performance of the season, no question, for Lane Kiffin's team. The question is, can they keep the momentum going into the final 3 games?
And that's what we want to see tonight from FAU. They look like a completely different football team, offensively, defensively, special teams. I mean, their defense forced 3 turnovers against a very, very good FIU offense that historically had taken care of the ball all season. So I think with Johnson in at quarterback a little bit tonight, when do they put him in? What do they do? I'm curious to see what this offense looks like and if the defense can stand up like they did last week.
Well, the plan is interesting from Lane Kiffin tonight. He said it worked so well against FIU last week, he's going to do the same thing, which means Chris Robinson will get the start and DeAndre Johnson will come in maybe the 3rd, 4th series, kind of like we saw last week. A little surprising if you ask me. What do you think, AJ?
Yeah, it really is. I thought maybe Johnson would just get the start straight off.
Yeah, he was great.
He came in, brought that spark last week to this offense. Everything about what he did, it seemed like the team rallied around him, that his teammates say he has a calm confidence in the huddle. So I'm curious to see if he gets in maybe 2nd, 3rd series, if he does stay, and what he really can do, if he can duplicate what he did last week.
Western Kentucky's biggest issues have been at the quarterback position, not with the play, but with the injuries. Eccles is out for the season, so they had a decision to make, and Coach Mike Sanford said he's going to go with the sophomore instead of the freshman. That sophomore, Stephen Duncan, who played pretty well at the end of last week's game against Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, and Western Kentucky's just trying to find a way to get a victory, and they feel like Stephen Duncan gives them the best chance to win here tonight against an FAU team that has taken some momentum and hopefully moving forward. So when you're 1-8, there's not a whole lot of bright spots. You're trying to fight and claw for whatever you have, and a win tonight for Western Kentucky would go a very long way.
Well, the reigning Conference USA Offensive Player of the Week is in red on the other side. Devin Singletary leads the nation in touchdowns. Kristen Balboni has more on what he can accomplish this evening.
Yeah, guys, doesn't it feel like every time we cover FAU, Devin Singletary is going for a record, just broke another record or has a milestone on the horizon? Well, tonight is no different, that's for sure. We got 2 that we should be watching for in this game. First and foremost, he's just 40 yards away from becoming the first Owl to rush for 4,000 yards in a career. He also needs 3 rushing touchdowns to move into the NCAA's all-time top 5 rushing touchdown career leaders, and it could happen, guys. Last week we saw him have 3 rushing touchdowns against FIU in that incredible performance, and last year against Western Kentucky, 4 rushing touchdowns and 244 yards on the ground. Both of those were season highs, so we could see some milestones tonight, guys.
And Coach Sanford is saying, man, we can't catch a break. Last week, they gave up nearly 200 rushing yards to a freshman, and now he's got to deal with Devin Singletary on this night. Want to continue to keep the conversation going on Facebook and Instagram all throughout the evening. Use that hashtag WKUVSFAU. Send us your photos on Instagram. Send us your questions on Facebook, and we'll be following you throughout the night. I want to say hello to Brittany and Jeremiah, who say go Tops, watching, I would presume, from somewhere in the vicinity of Bowling Green, Kentucky. And FIU is going to get the ball first to start this matchup. See if Kerrith Whyte gets a chance to return. He will not. It's into the end zone. It comes out to the 25-yard line. And we'll see Devin Robinson and this explosive FIU offense, no matter who is at quarterback. And again, as we talked about at the outset, it's going to be Chris Robinson getting the start, but he may only get a couple of series in this game. And he's got a great two-headed monster in the backfield with Devin Singletary and Kerrith Whyte.
Yeah, he really does. And FAU, let's be real, they want to run the ball tonight. You have Devin Singletary, Kerrith Whyte. Both of these guys can go for over 150 if you execute, and they don't want to have to put the ball in the air too much. They want to try to find a way, get up early, get up 14-0 early, and keep the ball on the ground and try to run this thing out.
Robinson to throw on the first play of the game, and it's Harrison Bryant. 9 yards on first down. Bryant, one of the best tight ends in the conference, and he is now at 999 receiving yards for his career. One more to reach 1,000. That's good enough for the first down, and it's never good enough to just send one tackler at Devin Singletary, because he will either make you miss or kind of squiggle out of a tackle. He is tough to bring down at 5'8". They go right back to him. Big hole off the right side, and Singletary is loose into the secondary. Spins to the 35 and inside the 30.
This is what FAU wants to do. They're already at the line trying to run another play. They want to overwhelm you with the volume of plays, and especially on the ground when you have two stud running backs like they do.
Keep it on the ground. They passed on the first play of the game, good enough for 9 yards, and now on the ground 3 straight times to Motor Singletary, leading the nation in touchdowns. Has just about every record you could ever ask for in school history and Conference USA history. And he's in the backfield again with Willie Wright in motion. Fake the jet sweep and the handoff. Robinson keeps it. Only gets a yard. It's good to see Willie Wright back out there. AJ, we saw him last week get smoked. It was a targeting penalty. A head injury kept him out for the remainder of the game. That was a penalty that happened really early, and we weren't sure if we were going to see Willie tonight.
Yeah, it was a scary, scary play. It's great to see him that he tested. He tested through the protocol. Everything's fine. He's on the field tonight because it was not looking good last week. He took a big shot and was on the ground for a good amount of time. So I'm sure he wants to get a catch early, maybe get his first contact and make sure that he still has it and feels good.
He backs up in the slot. Kerrith Whyte is the running back. They give it to Whyte. Not nearly enough, and that'll set up a 4th down. Got to think with that call, it's 4-down territory. Offense still out there on the field.
Yeah, interesting play call. On 3rd down to run it there, you definitely knew that FAU planned on being 4-down territory here.
And they will go for it on 4th down and 5 as Robinson looks to the sideline. They were pretty successful last week. Biggest play of the game was that 4th down and 11. DeAndre Johnson throwing a touchdown pass that put him on top for good. Robinson to throw. Slant. It's caught. 1st and goal inside the 10-yard line. Jovan Durant.
I'll tell you what, if Robinson thinks he has a short leash, he is not showing it. He is stepping in and throwing the ball with confidence.
Handing it off with confidence to Kerrith Whyte. Got to be confident when you have maybe the best 1-2 punch in the conference. Durant and Kerrith Whyte helping Florida Atlantic take the early lead and take the opening drive right down the field.
This is what FAU expected to do offensively. Keep the momentum going from last week. Western Kentucky may not be as formidable of opponent as FIU was, but I think FAU's taking a lot of confidence in that game last week and what they were able to do just in all facets of the game. They out-executed, they outplayed FIU, and they definitely feel like they can do that against Western tonight.
Vladimir Rivas, the extra point is good. 7-0 Florida Atlantic. Kerrith White got the touchdown, but really got going with his long Singletary run.
Yeah, Devin Singletary, once again, he sets everything up for this offense. He makes so many people miss. Just every single run, it seems like, is a highlight reel run for him. And when you have Kerrith White as your change-up back, you're in good hands. These guys, they have great football instincts. They have great balance. Defenders never really know what kind of angle to take because they're so sudden in how they can start and stop on a dime. They really complement each other well. And hey, guess what? If they throw DeAndre Johnson in at quarterback, it's like they have a third running back in the backfield too when he checks in.
8 plays, 75 yards. It took 3:15, and you're right. If Robinson keeps looking like this, and he didn't have to do a ton, but he did enough.
He kept it
hard
going.
To take him out.
That 4th and 4 conversion, he stepped in and threw that nice slant to Durant to keep that drive going.
Now we'll see what Western Kentucky can do. One of the worst offenses in the country. They're 125th in the nation in scoring, averaging just 19 points per game.
I don't know, how would you handle it, Chris, if all of a sudden they said, hey, after the first quarter, we're going to sub you out. We'll bring another play-by-play guy in. I don't know how I would like that. So credit to Robinson, how he's handling it. I mean, that first drive, you can't have massive amount of confidence if you know there's a good chance you're coming out in 2 or 3 series.
Well, Lane did say that he's done as well as expected. Of course, any competitor is going to be upset when you get benched in a game and the guy that comes in does such a great job, and you know that you're going to have to come out of this game at some point. But that Robinson has handled it pretty well, and he also says it's been really tough on him with the injury as well to the ankle. Now there's Stephen Duncan. Here's AJ's scouting report. He is sturdy, he is big-bodied, and they want him to take them the rest of the way this season if he can stay healthy. High snap and the handoff. Solid yardage on first down. Joshua Samuel, who leads this team in attempts and yardage, picks up 7 on first down for the Hilltoppers. And they go no huddle.
Yeah, this Western offense definitely wants to get into a rhythm early, not fall too far behind. How explosive this FAU offense really is.
That's a keeper, and Jalen Young stayed home. The preseason All-Conference USA strong safety was eyeing the quarterback the whole way. He was the first one to get there, and then his teammates cleaned it up.
Yeah, Stephen Duncan can run. I mean, it's not his staple. He wants to throw first and run second, but if needed, he can pull the ball down and run. Right there, we saw this FAU defense is just too fast. They take the right angles, and they know how to stop that QB run.
Vera is watching live from the sideline, so she's got the live look from the sideline and the view that we have from way up top. On third down, that pass is complete, and it should be enough for a first down. Well done as they find Ja'Cour Pearson, who's from right here in the Fort Lauderdale area. Only about 30 minutes north of Fort Lauderdale, if that. 11th reception of the season. You know he wants to do well, coming right back home.
Especially early on, get a big conversion for your offense, stay on the field, and most importantly, keep this FAU offense off the field.
Running back is DeAndre Furby. Been a staple in that backfield for several years, and he gets the handoff and another solid gain on first down. That's 2 first down plays, and they're averaging about 7 yards a pop.
This FAU defense does give up 181 yards a game rushing, so I'm sure Western wants to establish the run game early and keep coming back to it.
This time, Andrew Soro glided in and took Furby down, and it sets up another third down and short for this Western Kentucky offense. Nice night here in Boca Raton. Possibility of a scattered shower, but there's always a possibility in South Florida. The high today was about 85. It'll be upper 70s by the end of this thing. That is short of the first down. Furby dove close to the 45-yard line where he needed to get to, but they're a yard short. And now what do you do, AJ? Fourth down, and it's a full 2 for a big underdog here, and it looks like
Western is electing to go for this one, as of now at least.
Sending in some
putting in their jumbo package.
Hog mollies in there. They need to get 2. Duncan, keeper, not even close. That swarming FAU defense, supposed to be the strong suit of the team coming into the season, had a terrible start, but these last few weeks, they've been great.
This front 4 for FAU, they're running just a little quarterback power. It's a quarterback run all the way. And those big bodies up front for FAU did a good job eating up all the blockers and let the linebackers and safeties flow over the top to where Stephen Duncan didn't even have a chance on that.
So FAU takes the opening drive right down the field for a touchdown, and they stop Western Kentucky on 4th down and 2. They get it back in Hilltopper territory when play resumes. Down to Kristen Balboni.
Hey guys, yep, I'm monitoring all of the comments on the sidelines. I told you before the game started that we want you to contribute. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're rooting for. I got them all right here. Let's see what we got here. Kathy says go Owls. Tom's rooting for Big Red. Mitchell says go Tops from Fort Carson, Colorado. James Gordon is checking in from Sanford, North Carolina. James, I grew up not too far from there. Nice that you were checking in. Tom Ritter is checking in from Cheyenne. He says go Tops. Plenty more coming in. Naomi says she is watching from Rhode Island, number 76 FAU. So keep those comments coming throughout the game. We absolutely love hearing from you. I heard Chris shout out some people too with where they're watching earlier on in the game. And you can also remember, go on Instagram, use the hashtag WKUVSFAU. Send us your Instagram pics. Send us whatever you got. Send us a picture of you in your gear. Send us a picture of your pets in your gear. We want to see it all, and you're going to see it right here on this game. Now, I told you that we were going to have some poll questions for you. It's your time to vote. Here is what we want to know from you. How many times do you think Devin Singletary is going to get into the end zone tonight in this game? We said he was 3 rushing touchdowns from a big-time top 5 NCAA milestone. We already saw Kareth White get in there. So let us know. You can vote. You got the option 0, 1 to 2, or 3 or more. We're going to be checking on those poll results and reading them off. So, guys, back up to you. I'll keep an eye on that.
And he's closing in on 4,000 as well, 10 yards away from the 4,000 career rushing yard mark. Didn't get that first touchdown, though. It went to Kareth White. It says a lot about Devin Singletary when you think of all of the yardage and touchdowns that Kareth White piles up. And Devin Singletary still gets his and still leads the nation in touchdowns. 1st and 10, Florida Atlantic at the 43-yard line of Western Kentucky after they were stuffed on 4th and 2. Robison's still the quarterback. And it's a jet sweep to the wide receiver. Kareth White, the one on the handoff. Averages 7 yards per carry. That one good enough for 14. And it's another handoff coming near side. Motor, Singletary, and Kareth White in the backfield at the same time. I like that look.
Yeah, it gives the defense a couple things to think about. And this FAU offense, they were 5 for 5 scoring touchdowns every time they were in the red zone last week.
And they split Kareth White out wide to the right. Handed off to Singletary. And that's a rare open field tackle by a defender on Singletary. Takorian Darden did a great job there, staying in front of Motor and tripping him up.
Yeah, he really did. And we heard multiple coaches for Western tell us that you can't get Devin Singletary down with just one man. You're going to need the cavalry to come. And right there, Takorian Darden proved us wrong.
Hand off to Singletary on 3rd down, picking his way off the left side. And he's down to the 16-yard line, good enough for a 1st down.
And you mentioned right there, Chris, kind of picking his way for the 1st down. And he just kind of, he has that vision, just the patience, I think, to just kind of bob and weave through all that traffic and find a way to get the 1st down.
Looks like a broken play, and Robison gets taken down to the backfield by the former walk-on Ben Holt, who's now a team captain. Something was off on that play.
Definitely some miscommunication there. Sometimes when you try to go with this ultra tempo, you confuse yourself and you mess your own timing up.
Antonio Riles is the injured Owl. He's the starting right guard. Loss of 1 on that play, 2nd down and 11. Haven't seen it a ton this season with Singletary and White in the backfield at the same time. The good thing about White is he can split out wide and be a wide receiver as well.
I mean, he is a fully functioning wide receiver when you put him out in that slot, and we've seen him already take the jet sweep tonight. But you can put him out in the pass routes, and he can run the whole route tree.
You see DeAndre Johnson there with his helmet off. He should be coming into this game in the next drive or 2, according to what Lane Kiffin told us. And there's the injury. It looks like Riles holding on to that left knee as he walks under his own power off the field.
Yeah, that was just a broken play for the FAU offense. It was almost like they started their motion too late to where there was no fake. They were trying to fake a little jet sweep. The timing was off, leaving Robinson just kind of back there by himself trying to figure it out, and he's trying to do whatever he can to get back to the line of scrimmage.
So an injury timeout. We send it down to Kristen Balboni.
Yep, it is FAU's homecoming this weekend. A lot of fun down here. Guys, they had a Star Wars themed homecoming. When I was in college, our homecomings didn't even have a theme. But the theme was the Atlantic Awakens. Certainly that's what they're hoping is going to happen for the rest of their season as they try to get bowl eligible. We got some pictures here. We raided their Instagram to find out what was going on at homecoming, and that's a nice little setup there from the school store. I like the, oh my goodness, look at this. Plenty of themed homecoming events this week. Check them out. That is, you know what, guys, I'm not a big Star Wars person. I know that's someone important, but I'm not sure who it is. Yes, so you could go and stuff an Ewok. I really wanted to go yesterday, but we had a little thing called a coaches meeting that I wasn't able to go. But you could stuff an Ewok, I guess, like Build-A-Bear, which was pretty cool. I did have a dog named Ewok when I was younger. I have 2 older brothers, so I don't know a lot of Star Wars, but I do know what an Ewok is.
Yeah, I'm with you, Kristen. I don't have any idea what's going on when it comes to Star Wars.
Yeah, me neither, but it looks a lot of fun according to FAU homecoming. We have the poll results, too. We asked that question about how many times Motor Singletary is going to reach the end zone. 11% of people said he's not getting it at all. 1 to 2, 36% of people said that. And the majority, guys, 53%, think that he's going to get 3 or more touchdowns, just like he did last week. He had 3 against FIU.
Yeah, to go along with 184 rushing yards. And then the last time these 2 teams played, a year ago, he had 4 touchdowns and 244 rushing yards. Singletary leading the country in touchdowns, leading the conference in rushing yards per game at 113. He's gone over 1,000 for the season, and now over 4,000 for his career. The first FAU running back to accomplish that feat. So back to action. 2nd down and 11 after the loss of 1, and Singletary dancing. And then shoved back after reaching the 11-yard line. Quickly the snap, the fake to Singletary. They throw the screen. Whoa. Incomplete. So it's another decision for Lane Kiffin. This time I think they're going to kick the field goal. Willie Wright has had issues hanging on to the football this season. Lane Kiffin told us yesterday, yeah, we're glad to have Willie back, but he's made some critical drops this season.
Right there, just you could see he turned his head and started to almost try to turn and run before he secured the ball. Especially when you get down towards the goal line, you're in the red zone, you get kind of antsy. You want to get that ball in your hands as quick as possible.
Vladimir Rivas from 29 yards, and it's wide right. He has struggled this season, just 6 of 11 now. He missed from 40 last week. That was a bit of a chip shot that he blew to the right. They didn't need any field goals last week because they only allowed 14 points, and they reached the end zone 7 different times. They had 439 rushing yards, but Lane Kiffin was telling us that a lot more came on jet sweeps that were actually considered short passes that would have gotten them up to 500 yards. He thought that by far it was the best performance of the season because the turnover margin was +3 and they only had 4 penalties.
And you only gave up 14 points to an FIU offense that has shown that they can score points all year. So I think that's the thing. When you can couple a solid defense with this explosive offense, that's the FAU team that I think Lane Kiffin expects to see.
Western Kentucky's second possession. And another negative play for this offense. They had a drive stall last time out. 4th down and 2 that went nowhere. That's Fort Lauderdale native Ja'Cour Pearson losing a yard.
Western Kentucky, their offense, they're just searching for something, just some kind of spark, some kind of big play. I'm curious to see if they're going to take any shots down the field to try to create something, get a matchup they want, even force a pass interference penalty to move the ball down the field just to get your offense some rhythm.
He is looking down the field this time, and he's got a man ahead of the pack, but it's too much. Pearson beat the secondary, his cornerback and the safety, but the pass had a little bit too much mustard on it.
Stephen Duncan just gets excited here. Solid protection from his offensive line, and he has Pearson with 2 or 3 steps on the nearest defender. Sometimes you get amped up, especially early in the game, and your adrenaline's going. You can see that as the quarterback, as he's stepping in right before he releases that ball, that his receiver has a step, and you just put a little too much on it.
3rd down and long. Over the middle, incomplete. Was behind the intended receiver, Myquan Dean. And Western Kentucky will have to punt. Lone bright spot last week was their punter, Alex Ranella. National Punter of the Week. Punted 7 times. 4 of them went inside the 20. 4 of them went 57 yards plus, and he didn't have a single return yard against him. This punt, low, line drive, not great. It's fumbled! Ball is still loose, and FAU is on it. Oh, that was nearly disastrous. Deshaun Holmes fumbled it. Western Kentucky had a couple of cracks at it, AJ.
They got to come down with this. When you're Western, you only have one win on the season. These are the things you have to find a way to come down with. When they want to gift you a turnover like that, you got to fall on it. And man, this Western team missed opportunities. Obviously, the overthrow to Pearson from Stephen Duncan on that drive. And then right there, they tried to gift you a fumble on the punt return, and you guys can't find a way to come down with. That's kind of been the story of Western season so far this year. Just the ball hasn't really bounced their way. They haven't gotten the luck that sometimes you tend to get when you win football games. You have to find a way to fight through it. I don't know. It's I'm sure Coach Sanford's really grasping at anything.
Ron Hafiz was the one to fall on it for Florida Atlantic. Down to Kristen Balboni.
Yeah, guys, speaking about Coach Sanford here in his 2nd year, one of the youngest coaches in FBS, and he really joins such an elite coaching pedigree at Western Kentucky. If you look at their last 3 head coaches, Jeff Brom, you see right there, who's now at Purdue, Bobby Petrino, now at Louisville, of course. You see their records right there. And then before that, it was Willie Taggart, who also played at Western Kentucky. And guys, you can't talk about WKU without mentioning that guy right there on the left, Jack Harbaugh, who had an unpaid assistant on his staff at the time by the name of Jim Harbaugh. I think we've all heard of him. And Sanford told us, he said, I know what this fan base expects, and this season has been really hard, but I am here to do things the right way, and that starts with recruiting at the high school level. He said, I'm not interested in taking tons of grad students and transfers every year, even though he told us, I've had to take my lumps because of it, but he is committed to get this program going in the right direction. Guys.
Thank you, Kristen. Have a comment from Facebook from Naomi Mark from Rhode Island, where I'm sure it's a little bit cooler there, has her eye on BJ Etienne, the left guard for Florida Atlantic. He's been involved in a position battle this week with Nick Weber at that left guard position. Western Kentucky, with just 1 win this season, it was against Ball State, and it was on the road. They have not won any games at home. Robinson still the quarterback for Florida Atlantic with 5 minutes to go here in the first. Great swarming defense from Western Kentucky.
I mean, if you saw in that previous graphic, Chris, you see this offense is only scoring 18 points a game. And in the year 2018, in college football, how many teams are putting up so many yards, so many points, week in and week out? That's something Western, they need to find some stability at the quarterback position. They need to stay healthy. And as Stanford said, he's hitting the trail recruiting. And it's just going to take some time to bring in the type of players he needs and build that depth.
Willie Wright again in motion. Robinson to throw. Deep down the seam to a wide open man. Chunk yardage for Pico Harrison, who didn't have a reception in any of the last 3 games, but he's back. First and 10 at the 35. You see how quickly they get reset and reloaded. Kareth White loses 7 yards. Ben Holt tracked him down in the backfield and just would not let him go.
That's what you have to do if you're Western. You give up a big explosive play over the top to this offense. Hey, you need to make a negative yardage play, which they did right now, setting up 2nd and long for FAU.
Corian Darden was in there at first to blow that play up. Robinson sets up and fires it to Jovan Durant. That's a first down. Some wide open FAU receivers on this drive.
Yeah, the cushion that Durant had was 6 or 7 yards.
White running right into a penalty marker.
Substitution infraction. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Just think about trying to substitute there with FAU going no huddle and not substituting themselves. The defense taking a big chance there, and it cost them.
It's always kind of a cat and mouse game when these teams want to run tempo, not let you substitute. That's something they practice. I mean, you have to absolutely practice it these days with how the majority of offenses you face go tempo.
A screen to Durant, gets a block to seal the edge, and has a first down. Nicely done by John Rain, the tight end. Not a first down. They mark him a yard short. It's another handoff right up the middle. That's good enough for a first down. Might be first and goal for Florida Atlantic. It's the 3rd straight time they've been right down here. The last time they missed a 29-yard field goal attempt.
You know, Lane does not want to leave it to the kicker anymore. He wants to punch this ball in and get 6.
Screen again to Durant. 2 flags fly. Taken down by Deontay Ruffin, who had good coverage.
Holding. Offense. Number 10. 10-yard penalty. The spot of the foul. Remains first down.
Referee tonight is Dan Gautreau. John Rain. Looked like the same play that he made a great seal block on to set up the 2nd down and short. This time gets called for holding, and you wonder how many more series they're going to give Chris Robinson. This is his 3rd. Lane Kiffin told us that we are going to see DeAndre Johnson again at some point.
We'll see. Johnson is not, he's not throwing or warming up on the sidelines yet. We'll see what happens after this drive.
It's first and goal from the 20-yard line. Robinson steps up, running it himself. Looked like he had a couple players wide open if he wanted to get rid of it.
Chris, number 40, Harrison Bryant, who we spoke of earlier in the game. He was wide open, running a little corner route in the end zone with nobody around him. Looked like a blown coverage on the back end.
Jet sweep to Willie Wright. Gets a block. Could not get the corner. Holt takes him down at the 11. Take another look at Bryant running free.
Now right there you see Durant with a little double move. He
Couldn't
definitely
see
had a step
Bryant
or
on
two.
that
Yeah, Bryant was
replay.
on the other side at the bottom of our screen. He just ran a little corner route, and there was nobody. He had his hand up instantly. He knew that Western had not recognized him and let him go free.
3rd and goal from the 12. Pressure coming, and Robinson just throws it away. Good job by Clayton White, the defensive coordinator, dialing up that blitz. Robinson wasn't ready for it, and the field goal unit coming back out once again.
When he had nobody open, the credit to this Western Kentucky defense. They had tight coverage in the back end. They're getting pressure on Robinson. He had to throw it away. Either throw it away or take a sack and make it a longer field goal for your kicker who just missed a kick a couple minutes ago.
Rivas just missed from 29. This one from 30. And it is good, barely. Drew that one right on in, and maybe that'll help the confidence of that young man. Lane Kiffin has been frustrated by the kicking situation this season. Rivas with a bad hamstring. Here's Alzi. Some Instagrams. Jake watching the Owls with BHack19. Looks like they've got a good spot posted up outside at a nice establishment. Stadium scenes always giving you the best looks from game day and game week. Owls up. There's a ton of tailgating going on.
Yeah.
And it's probably still going on. There's undoubtedly some that did not come into the stadium that are probably just watching on Facebook right now. Don't mess with the Owl.
No doubt, Chris. I was walking around the stadium about an hour before kick tonight. There's a lot of activity going on. There's some people are excited around here. How could you not be? I mean, it's a beautiful place to be, especially when you feel like this FAU team is starting to at least scratch the surface of what their potential may be. I think there's some excitement brewing. And a couple weeks ago, there really wasn't here at FAU. They felt like what happened to our season, we had such high expectations. Now maybe they can get a little bit of that back.
Need to win 2 of the last 3 to become bowl eligible. And they're fixing on winning all 3. The toughest one coming up on Thursday, a short week at North Texas, 9:30 Eastern time. Hey, next Saturday we have more Conference USA football for you. And Kristen and I will be there. Marshall hosting UTSA, that game exclusively on Facebook at 2:30 Eastern. Also at 3:30, Louisiana Tech visiting Southern Miss on Stadium, the only 24/7 network available on both television and digital devices without a cable subscription. Stadium, welcome to the game. And AJ, you were supposed to be with us next week at Marshall, but the big boss pulled you off.
I was reassigned, Chris. We're in the ACC Roadshow
There you go.
down in Blacksburg. I'll be watching though.
Doug
Trust me.
Gottlieb and company.
Yes, Eddie Royal. I will be watching you though, Chris. I'll be typing in,
Sounds good.
make some comments for you.
Well, let's see what this Western Kentucky offense can do. Joshua Samuel with just a yard or so on first down. They're only down 10-0. Seems like it could be a lot worse, even though they had a potential touchdown pass that was overthrown. They haven't been able to make any waves on offense, but here we go. Samuel off to the races. It's a foot race. Run down at the 13-yard line. Just what the doctor ordered for the Hilltoppers. I think it was Chris Tooley who ran him down.
You are right, Chris. You see tight end Kyle Thornberry pulling around, and Samuel just the vision to cut that one back. Almost had the wheels to take that thing to the end zone.
Big hit in the backfield. Jose Barnwell, the 5th. Big stop. One more look at the run from ground level.
Joshua Samuel, he recognizes where the hole develops after he gets the ball in his hand, puts his foot in the ground, gets vertical, and almost takes that thing all the way. And that's the little spark they need. They need to find a way to punch it in and get 6 here.
That's the end of the first quarter. It's been dominated by Florida Atlantic.
The first quarter.
But Western Kentucky knocking on the door. They'll have a 2nd down and 11 from the 14-yard line at the start of the second to try to get right back in this game. Kristen Balboni is down on the field with a special guest from yesteryear here at FAU.
That's right. I'm here with FAU legend Rusty Smith, former FAU quarterback, former NFL quarterback. So this year at Homecoming, they are honoring that 2008 team tonight that you were a part of. What's your best memory from that team?
I was just talking with Mark and Brian before the game on Owl Radio, and the last game of the season, the Shula Bowl game, it went into overtime. We overcame a 14-point deficit 2 different times in the last few minutes of the game to send into overtime, and then score on the first possession that we had. It made us bowl eligible. We beat our arch rival. It's to this day one of the greatest games that I've been a part of. So it was an amazing experience from that season.
We got to see the Shula Bowl last week. I can't even imagine one with that many twists and turns. Earlier this season, Chris Robinson broke your single-game passing record against Air Force. How was that for you?
I'm so happy for him to be able to break a record like that. Records are meant to be broken. I was listening to it on the radio and happy for him. Really excited that we got the win against a quality opponent like that. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that the team won the game. And, you know, the rest of the records that I was so blessed to be able to set while I was here, eventually they're going to get broken as well. So it's not something that you know, I was upset about at all. I'm just very happy that they won and happy for Chris to be able to have it now.
And you speaking of listening on the radio, I heard that you listen to all the games on the radio. Do you ever just want to suit back up and get back out?
You know, I do miss playing a little bit, not in the pros, but I do miss playing here at FAU. Some of the best times of my life were while I was here at college. I got to meet my wife. You know, obviously football. So yeah, it was a lot of great memories. I love listening to Ken and Chris on the radio. They definitely bring the energy. So yeah, they get me fired up every now and then for sure.
All right, Rusty, thank you so much for joining us. We'll let you go enjoy the rest of the game down here. Guys, back to you.
Sounds like Rusty's a lot bigger fan of the radio crew than the Facebook crew in attendance tonight. Tell us to fire on up Facebook and give us a listen. 2nd and 11 as we start the second quarter. Western Kentucky trying to get on the board. A pump fake and a good decision by Duncan not to throw that. I know he got smoked, but that play was blown up, and it might have been a pick 6 had he let go of that ball, AJ.
Yeah, good decision he made there. Worst case is you don't convert this 3rd down, and you have a field goal and hopefully get on the board and make this thing a 1-possession game. But they're not thinking that. I promise you this Western offense is thinking touchdown here. 3rd and 12, yeah, it's a tall task, but they feel like they have the guys to do it. They're dropping down to an empty formation now.
5 wide, 3 to the near side. Duncan in the shotgun, looking to his right, rolling out of the pocket, throws across his body for the touchdown. Mike Quandine. Team leading 5th touchdown reception of the season. I thought you weren't supposed to throw late across your body, AJ.
Unless you do that, Chris, you're not supposed to throw late across your body. It's like anything else. If you do it and you are successful, good. Coach is going to say, that's a great job. Don't ever do it again. Huge play, though, for this Western offense. And just for the confidence of this whole team, of Stephen Duncan. I mean, that play was, the coverage was locked down early in that play. He bought some time with his legs, got outside the pocket, and finds Dean over the middle.
That one's blocked. Ball is live. Recovered by FAU. Not that it matters, but Ryan Nuss gets it blocked. He's had a heck of a time as a field goal kicker this season. Look back at the touchdown play, but it's just 10-6.
Look at Duncan. He initially tries to pull the trigger. Everybody is covered. Gets outside the pocket, buys some time, an extra 1.5, 2 seconds. It's tough to plaster your coverage for that long.
Well, Nuss has had 3 field goals blocked already this season. That's an extra point. He almost ended up with the football.
It's a tip ball. You think he wanted that or not? That's a tough one there in the middle of all of that.
Just the short field goal kicker these days. Alex Ranella, the punter, takes the long field goals, and you got to wonder now if he's just going to start taking everything. Mike Sanford was saying that Ryan Nuss was going to try to do the short field goal kicking to give Ranella a little bit of a break he said that that's what they did last week, and that's what led to Rinella winning National Punter of the Week, because he had just been getting worked too hard doing all 3 phases of the kicking game: field goals, punts, and kickoffs. And there's Rinella getting ready to kick it off.
Yeah, you see some teams do that, where they will have a kickoff guy. A lot of times the punter will be the kickoff guy, or in the long field goal. I mean, Adam Vinatieri did that for a little while when Pat McAfee was punting. Pat took the kickoffs. Vinatieri just did the field goals and extra points.
Kerrith Whyte taken down at the 22-yard line. And did you know that you can stream college football all season long with Sling for only $25 per month? That's Sling TV. Try it for free right now at sling.com. Restrictions apply. It's one of the shortest kickoff returns of the season for Kerrith Whyte, who came in top 5 in the country, averaging 31 yards a return. That one good for about 20. It's a keeper with the new quarterback, DeAndre Johnson, coming in on this, the 4th possession of the game. He lit a fire under Florida Atlantic last week. Came in when it was tied at 7. Led 5 touchdown drives out of 6 that he touched the football. Mostly a runner, AJ. Again, straight run to the near side and out of bounds across the 30-yard line, but a yard or 2 short of the first down.
Yeah, he basically is like another running back in the game, and that's the thing. He's mostly a run-first guy, but he has a very, very strong arm. He can push it down the field.
That's a first down. Devin Singletary, again, over 4,000 rushing yards for his career, the first in program history to do that. Johnson last week only threw it 6 times, but he was 4 of 6, 2 of those for touchdowns. Big hole off the right side. Singletary gets tripped up. Derquan Mobley made a big tackle, or that could have been another huge gain.
Yeah, this Western defense, they want to make DeAndre Johnson prove to them that you can beat us with your arm. You have to find a way to shore up this run attack from FAU.
Not much for Singletary there, and it sets up a 3rd down. Singletary will come out as Kerrith Whyte, more of a pass catcher, comes in. A big play for Western Kentucky after scoring the touchdown. A chance to keep the momentum in this game on their side with 12.5 minutes to play in the first half.
Let's see if Western has a spy accounting for DeAndre Johnson. 3rd and 5. This is a prime location for a QB draw or a design pass and a quick decision to pull it down and run if you feel like the defenders' backs are turned chasing their receivers.
At 7 carries for 50 yards last week, he hands it off. And Kerrith Whyte is right at the marker. I think they're going to say it's just shy. And now they do say first down. At first they did not stop the clock, but it was enough for the first down and keep it moving as they near Western Kentucky territory. Offense runs a little bit slower with Johnson in there. Willie Wright gets it on the jet sweep, being chased, gets the corner, and steps out in Western Kentucky territory after a pickup of about 6 yards.
That was big Juwan Jones, number 34, chasing on that play. And you know what? It's a 7-yard gain. That could have been a 30-yard gain if Juwan Jones didn't string that out and make him run sideways for so long. Yeah, he didn't make the tackle, but he definitely slowed him down so he couldn't turn the corner quick enough.
White gets the handoff and has another first down for Florida Atlantic. He has the lone touchdown of the game. Owl fans excited here on homecoming. Johnson keeps it, throws it, has the tight end, John Rain, who cuts it up inside the 30, another first down. John Rain plays his best when A.J. Hawk is in attendance.
He really does. John Rain and Harrison Bryant. I am big fans of both of these tight ends.
White gets the carry. Down to the 20-yard line. 8.5 yards on first down. Keep these backs fresh as White comes out. Singletary comes back. They had a package where both of them were in the backfield at the same time in the first quarter.
I'm sure FAU will come back to that at some point this game.
Rain in motion. Singletary gets the handoff, but Holt swallowed him up. That'll set up third down and short.
Linebacker Ben Holt has already had a productive night here on this Western defense, forcing another third down, and Western just needs to find a way to keep this game close.
They'd love to hold FAU to a field goal attempt here. Johnson pulls it back, throws the screen, gets a block, and Willie Wright has the first down at the 15-yard line. Youngster trying to learn the owl sign language. A little bit bashful. It's a give. Singletary to the 10-yard line. Being told that was Rusty Smith's son. Maybe a future owl quarterback.
Rusty definitely still has his finger on the pulse around here. He's definitely a fan. I'd like to see that.
Timeout called by Western Kentucky.
Timeout. Western Kentucky.
There's a little one again.
It is their first.
He'll learn. Down to Kristen Balboni.
Yeah, he's a cutie, guys. His name is Colton. Oh, my goodness. I know Dad would certainly hope that he is going to become a future owl, like you said. All right, we got our second poll question up. We want to know from all of you. We want you to go and vote right now on Facebook. Does FAU become bowl eligible? So go and vote for that. They've got to win 2 of their next 3. The 3 obviously including tonight. We want to hear from you. What do you think? Do they make it happen? They're obviously hoping to join the 6 teams in Conference USA who are already bowl eligible. Guys, we thought you might be able to take us through the bowl landscape in Conference USA.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's 6 teams bowl eligible, and Florida Atlantic isn't one of them yet, and they still won't be, even if they win tonight. Need to win 1 more after this. These are the bowl tie-ins. Of course, the Boca Bowl, which is right here, which FAU plays in quite a bit. They won it last year. The Bahamas Bowl, that's not a bad trip. Look at these destinations. I mean, Boca, Bahamas, Hawaii, Dallas, New Orleans. And I think FAU does get in because you got to win 2 of these last 3 to join these teams with 6 wins. Marshall was able to get there today. We'll see Marshall next week against UTSA. I think that they should be able to take care of business at home. And I give them a shot against North Texas. I mean, if they keep playing like they have the last game and a half that we've seen them, there's no reason why they can't go into North Texas and give the mean green again.
Absolutely, and if their defense continues to stand up like they have over these last couple of games and how they've started this game so far against Western. Now, I think early in their FIU game, I said they would not be bowl eligible because I did not expect FAU to come out like gangbusters last week against FIU and put a full, complete game together. Now, that win was huge for them, not only mentally, but it helped them gain a bunch of confidence going in. And you know what? If you can find a way to become bowl eligible, which it looks like FAU very much could, that just gives you an extra couple weeks of practice. And it just gives you so much more time together as a team and your coaches, and it does wonders for your whole program.
At North Texas on Thursday, and then against Charlotte right back here on this field, a game that we'll have for you on Facebook as well to close out the regular season. So if they take care of business tonight, just have to split those last 2 and they will be bowl eligible. Check out this formation with 3 wide receivers all the way here to the boundary on the near side of the field. Singletary gets the handoff. Not much doing. Defense from Western Kentucky's D'Angelo Malone.
A lot of times they like that formation, like they split these 3 wideouts down here. Harrison Bryant's in a little sniffer position. He'll come back across the ball and try to seal the outside defender here and let him cut it all the way back.
Johnson keeps it close to a first down, but the spot looks to be a touch short. It'll set up a 4th down, and I think they're going to hurry up and go for this.
Yeah, that was the same play they ran earlier, but Johnson just kept that one.
Hands this one to Singletary, and it's close. Right at the 5, it looks like. That's right where he needed to get to. You see the first down marker. That's a good spot. They put it all the way inside the 5-yard line, so it is a first down. First and goal.
It's definitely a favorable spot for FAU. They have to feel good about it.
When they get it in the red zone, they usually get it in the end zone. Johnson to throw. Now he'll run it, and he'll take it in for 6. Design pass, but when you have a guy that can move like that, this one might come back. There is a penalty flag down right at the line of scrimmage at the 4. That's why there's a subdued celebration. They dropped the flag at the 6-yard line, so it must be an infraction at the 6 that they'll mark from the spot.
Personal foul, blocking below the waist. Offense, number 5, 15 yards from the previous spot, remains first down.
Not from the spot of the foul, but from the previous spot. It's Devin Singletary called for going low. I know that's one of the points of emphasis this year on the offensive line and for wide receivers and running backs to not block low.
It's definitely a point of emphasis trying to protect. One of the few rules that goes to protect the defenders, defensive players. I know they're.
You're not going to argue with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind it.
Johnson cut down. Kyle Bailey with a good tackle.
A lot of times, Chris, when a guy goes low, it's like the ultimate form of respect. Like, hey, I got to cut you because I know you're going to run right through me. It's like, okay, cool. Well, hey, give him a little fist bump and keep it moving, and then keep him guessing. You know, that's the thing. When you get cut one time, it keeps you guessing the rest of the game. Where you all of a sudden you'll try to jump, and the guy doesn't cut you, and you flip over top of his shoulders.
Glad I never had to deal with that. Johnson gets hit as he throws, and it's intercepted. To Corian Darden. Cuts it back up. He's to midfield and into FAU territory.
What a gigantic play here by Takorian Darden. Not only does he have the athleticism to come down with this ball, this was a heck of a return. I'm guessing Takorian Darden played some offense in his time growing up.
You'd be right. He played quarterback and wide receiver in high school.
Absolutely. Watch these. What a catch. Making multiple people miss. Surveying the field, cutting back multiple times. Man, I thought he was going to take this to the house for a minute.
Bailey made a good play on that drive. And then the hit on the quarterback, and now maybe going for broke. Duncan gets hit, and it's back-to-back interceptions. Anything you can do, we can do better. Shelton Lewis caught from behind at the 41. There is a flag down at the 35-yard line. And those plays were near mirror images with the quarterback getting hit right as he was releasing the ball and a wounded duck floating to the secondary. Here's the call.
After the interception, block in the back. Defense, number 11. 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the spot of the foul. First down, FAU.
So the block in the back is after the interception on the run back, and it goes on Ray Ellis, the defensive tackle for FAU. A wild last couple of plays as Western Kentucky picked one off in the red zone. And on the very first play of the drive, Florida Atlantic picks it right back off. They'll spot it at the 25-yard line for Florida Atlantic with a 10-6 lead.
You'll see number 36 on the left side of your screen, Achilles Leroy coming in and hitting Duncan as he throws. That's why that ball floats on him. Gives Shelton Lewis the time to undercut the receiver and have another nice return. These teams just answering back-to-back plays with interceptions.
Achilles Leroy has helped lead the resurgence of this defense. Lane Kiffin specifically mentioned him this week when talking about the defense. He thought that Leroy played the best of anyone on the defensive side of the ball, played about 20 snaps. He keeps earning a lot more playing time, just a sophomore from Albany, Georgia. There's the interception by Western Kentucky from Takorian Darden.
And both of these interceptions, Chris, being caused because of the pressure. Sure, you're not, yeah, I guess it is technically a stat, but it's not going to be a sack in the record books. But guess what? You caused that turnover. Putting pressure on the quarterback, making him uncomfortable. He's not able to step into his throws. That's what happens. You get those balls that will float on QBs, and you may take advantage of those.
74% of you think that FAU will become bowl eligible. I'm with those 74%. They would have to lose 2 of the last 3 to not get there. That would mean that either Western Kentucky or Charlotte would have to beat them on this field. Taking a look at the Conference USA East standings, and this is not at all what we expected coming into the season. Florida Atlantic was the overwhelming favorite to repeat. Western Kentucky was not picked last. They were picked 5th in the East ahead of ODU and Charlotte. Charlotte has been surprisingly good this season, though they did fall to Marshall today. And it's still FIU's division to win because they have the head-to-head win over Middle Tennessee. So if FIU wins out, they'll win the division. And for Mike Sanford, he says it's not about moral victories. It's not about going hard in practice. He says we're doing that. It's about getting a W. That is all that matters at this point in the season. And a rough season it has been. He says the 1-8 record, when he thinks about it, it is despicable. That's the word he used. Second down and 8 after the pickup of 2 from Kareth White. Johnson to throw. Lost the ball. Luckily for him, his offensive lineman was there to fall on it. And that's Antonio Riles, who left in the first quarter with a knee injury. He's right back out there, and he saved the day.
Jeremy Darving coming in there and just getting enough of that ball to knock it out. And guess what? That's a sack caused fumble in the books for him.
And it sets up a 3rd and 17 with under 6 to play in the first half. It was all FAU to start. They led 10-0. Western Kentucky with a touchdown, and the defense is really stepping up and making some big plays. What a catch. Not enough for the first down, but Pico Harrison caught that over the top of the defender. You got to see that one again. You're going to have to punt, but wow, this is going to go in his highlight reel.
I have a feeling you're right, Chris. He really went up, high-pointed this thing, made a nice catch. Not enough to convert that 3rd down.
He brought that ball over the top of Deontay Ruffin. Run up and a fair catch at the 39-yard line by Jarrell Green. Western Kentucky will have good field position. Down 10-6. They are right in this football game, despite the rough starts. Looking for their first win in Conference USA play. Mike Sanford said they believe that they can come down here and win in a place that they love to recruit. They want to show off for some of the guys that they're recruiting and trying to get up to Bowling Green. They're not looking too bad to start things. Down to Kristen Balboa.
Guys, yesterday I had a chance to hang out with FAU tight end Harrison Bryant. We had a little fun. I asked him some questions that maybe you don't get asked all that much. So now it is time to get to know Harrison Bryant. Check it out.
Growing up, my favorite athlete was Chipper Jones, coming from Georgia. He was the talk of Georgia. I played baseball growing up and always idolized him. It was definitely when I committed to come to FAU, and a close second is the conference championship game last year. However, I didn't get to play, but it was just an awesome experience seeing my teammates so excited, and everybody for the first time winning it for FAU. The best thing about playing for Coach Kiffin is you never know what you're going to get. He's always having fun. He loves to have fun with us. He's joking around, and it's just a fun environment to be around. My favorite non-football hobby is when I get to go back home and go hunting and fishing and just hanging out with the family. My favorite thing to go to after practice is to the cafeteria to see Miss Pearl. You might not know what you're going to get, but it's pretty good.
Well, Miss Pearl, who he just mentioned, is a local legend down here with the FAU football player. She works in the cafeteria. She has a nickname for everybody on the football team. Harrison said he calls her, she calls him Home Alone. She said he looks just like Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone, and I see it, guys. I see it. That was a lot of fun. I got to meet Miss Pearl at some point.
You seen Home Alone, though?
That's a good question. He's so young, you know. Kids these days. You got to make sure he's seen it.
I'm sure he's heard of it. He just probably hasn't seen the movie from start to finish. Yeah, I get it. I see a little Macaulay Culkin there.
I mean, that thing came out about 10 years before he was born, so.
It's a classic, though.
It is definitely a classic, one that needs to be watched. An underrated Christmas classic.
The third one's my favorite.
The third? Interesting.
He's definitely joking.
Oh, okay.
Either that or I'm throwing him out of the booth. First and 10 for Western Kentucky with 5:02 to go here in the first half. Threw an interception the last time they had it, and they had it first and 10 in FAU territory. But Stephen Duncan got hit as he released the ball and got it picked. But he has a touchdown pass in this game, and now a handoff. And another nice run on first down from Joshua Samuel, who had that huge run to set up their only points of the game. FAU about a 3-touchdown favorite in this game. But when talking with Mike Sanford, really got the sense that he really believes that this team can come down here and win this game. He said, nobody's given us a chance, but if we make the plays that we know we can make, we can win. They've made some big plays defensively. They had the third down touchdown pass by Duncan, had the extra point blocked, but they're into FAU territory again, and it's first and 10.
And the longer that this Western team hangs around, the more hope and the more confidence they build. You know, FAU wanted to be ahead by 2 or 3 scores by now.
Pass complete to Quinn Jernigan, 43-yard line. Consistently keep setting themselves up with second down and shorts.
You keep it manageable, you're going to have a chance. That's the problem. If you continue to put yourself in third and long situations, your percentage of getting those is not very good.
Duncan keeps it, then tosses it, and Jernigan makes the catch again. That's first down near the 35-yard line.
A big part about converting second and third and mediums is by you set it all up from your first down play. If you can consistently get 4, 5, and 6 yards on the ground on first down, your playbook really opens up on second and third down to where you're not stuck to a few plays trying to make explosive gains down the field.
Duncan all by himself in the backfield with 5 wide. Pressure coming, so he gets rid of it over the middle. That's a seasoned quarterback move to Myquan Dean. He knew the pressure was coming and the soft spot was in the middle.
Yep, you know, great quarterbacks know where their hot reads are. They know where to go. If we get pressure, you go right here to the uncovered man, and that was Myquan Dean.
Duncan maybe should have handed that off on the jet sweep of sorts to Garland LaFrance. Looked like he could have had some speed around that edge. He's watching Soro there, and Soro didn't collapse, so he kept it himself. And a loss of 1 yard. Second down and 11, AJ.
Have you been a little surprised how many times Stephen Duncan has kept the ball tonight? How many times he's pulled it down and ran? A couple design runs for him as well.
Dumps it off to LaFrance, who doesn't get much. And it'll be 3rd down and 7 from the 22-yard line. Because of that missed extra point, that blocked extra point, a field goal would not tie it. See, Justin Malone keeps trying to make Hasselhawk a hashtag every week. Justin from Chicago. Not a bad tag team.
No, it's not bad at all.
Here's Hassel with A.J. Hawk, Kristen Balboni on the sideline. 3rd down. LaFrance has it, but he had nowhere to go. Tim Bonner had to have been in the huddle on that play call.
And Bonner also, I mean, look at him breaking down in space and just grabbing for his life. That's a heck of an open field tackle right there. That is not easy to do.
1 minute, 51 seconds. Thank you.
6'5", 225, taking down 5'10", 175. And it's 4th down. Hey, look at the 2-month-old. Made it to 2 FAU games, but not able to make this one. That's all right. Hopefully you're enjoying the coverage here on Facebook.
Tell you what, Dad's a trooper, bringing a 2-month and under to 2 football
already
games.
2
Did you stay the whole game? If you stayed the whole game, geez, you are Dad of the century.
Send in your feline and canine picks as well. Always love the animals, no matter what kind of animal. You might have a pet gator down here in South Florida. And who knows what you got in Kentucky. See, quite a few Western Kentucky fans have made the trip. There's a group of fans in the booth next to us. Made a vacation out of it. Not a bad time of year to be down in South Florida. 4th down and 8, and it looks like they're going to go for it with under 2 minutes to play here in the first half. And a whistle. Looks like Lane Kiffin may have called a timeout. He was right in the ear of one of the officials.
Please put 15 seconds on the play clock. Thank you.
Clearly he was arguing about the play clock, and they put time back on the clock. 4th and 8 with 1:51 left. Fresh looks on film with Devin Hester this Thursday on twitch.tv/stadium2. Twitch.tv/stadium2. Chance to win free burgers for a year and a team jersey by correctly answering a trivia question. 4th down, and that's not going to do it. Myquan Dean stopped well short of the 1st down. They've already had an extra point blocked. I'd be a little bit surprised they didn't put the punter Alex Ranella out there to attempt a longer field goal, but this had no chance of going anywhere.
This is how you execute 4th down defense. Zone coverage, you drop to the sticks, not deeper than the sticks. You let them throw the ball up in front of them, and everybody rallies to get them down, and you are off the field. Give the ball back to your offense. Tony Piccaro, the defensive coordinator for FAU, has to be happy about that one.
Well, Western Kentucky's had its opportunities. The last 2 possessions, they've been in Florida Atlantic territory, but Lane Kiffin's defense has stepped up. An interception on the first drive and a stop on 4th down here on this drive. And Chris Robinson is back out there at quarterback for Florida Atlantic. Harrison Bryant.
Okay, maybe Lane Kiffin's truly going with a 2-quarterback system. Give them each a certain amount of time, ride the hot hand, and then rotate them out.
Robinson's the one that's led him to points. Johnson did throw that interception. He didn't say anything was set in stone. He said Johnson was going to come in, no question about it. But not sure how long he would be able to stay in the game. Got the sense that if he was playing well, he would stay in. But Lane must think that Robinson gives them a better chance to move it down the field here, especially in this 2-minute drill.
Yeah, I think that's probably it right there. This 2-minute drill, he feels like Robinson has a better feel for the offense. More experienced passer in this system.
Finds Durant, gets a block from Bryant. Inside the 40 to the 35-yard line. Bryant blocked 2 Hilltoppers himself. .110 to play in the first half. FAU with all 3 timeouts remaining. So plenty of time. But a flag is thrown. Looks like a penalty on FAU.
Offense, number 1. 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
Willie Wright call for the false start. Here's Durant. Watch the block from Harrison Bryant. Gets both of them here.
Sealing not one but two defenders down the field. Willie Wright's out in front of him trying to pick off anybody he can. That's true teamwork.
First and 15 after the false start penalty. Robinson steps up, tripped up. Looks like he was going to have quite a bit of running room.
Timeout.
A timeout is called with 49 seconds left. He tripped over his own man. It was his offensive lineman, the left tackle. It was Reggie Bain. He got one of those big tree trunks in the way.
49 seconds. FAU calls a timeout. They have one left. Second and 19, that's the thing. Put you behind the sticks. Try to hit another one of those crossing routes like we saw earlier to Durant and have everybody blocking down the field.
They lost 5 on the penalty, then they lost 4 on that sack. Here come the Pups. That's a Western Kentucky fan. Little guy looks like a red blob. From Marley. The grass is starting to struggle a little bit. November in Kentucky. No issues down here. What a magnificent field. Love the natural grass here at FAU Stadium. 49 seconds on the clock. Just one timeout left now for FAU on a 2nd and 19. Robinson has all kinds of time, directing traffic, and throws it away last second. One-handed grab by one of the reserves.
There's no foul for
bounds.
intentional grounding. The quarterback was out of the pocket, and the ball crossed the line of scrimmage.
You heard the
Third
explanation
down.
as to why there was no grounding there. Clearly he was throwing it away, but he was well outside the pocket, and he got enough on it, because you do have to throw it across the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think that's what some Western Kentucky fans were trying to say, but it clearly crossed the line of scrimmage. For a second there, you thought Robinson was going to take that sack. I think Lane Kiffin was worried about it as well, right there in the sideline with a up-close view of it. Setting up a 3rd and long here.
3rd and 19 with under 40 seconds to play. Pressure coming. Oh my goodness, the ball is out and it's still loose. Finally swallowed by Western Kentucky with 29 seconds left at the 38-yard line. That's Evan Sainer.
Western Kentucky bringing pressure. You see Ben Holt coming off the edge. Wow, watch the impact here that Robinson takes. Ben Holt can get off the block, trying to get it. This thing was a wild scramble for a while to pick up that ball. Evan Sainer finally gets it. Number 10, D'Angelo Malone, hits him first. Man, that's just a big shot absorbed by Robinson. He stood up and ran off the field, Chris. Robinson is a tough guy here, but now we have 29 seconds to go. Western on about their, 37-yard line going in.
They've got 2 timeouts with 29 left. Their defense has 5 tackles for a loss, a couple of sacks, and a couple of forced turnovers here in this first half, and they have a chance to go in with the lead if they can find the end zone here. Duncan stepping up, sliding at the 33-yard line, likely going to have to use one of the 2 timeouts. They will with 22 seconds left.
Timeout. Western Kentucky. It is their 2nd. It will be 30 seconds.
We've mentioned it throughout the night that they've had issues kicking field goals this season. Ryan Nuss, the short field goal kicker, has already had a PAT blocked. If they do attempt a field goal, wouldn't be surprised if it's punter Alex Ranella, who's 4 of 7 for the year. He has a long of 41. But they would need another 10 yards or so to get a legitimate crack at it here.
Yeah, they really want to find a way to punch it in for a touchdown here. Western Kentucky's defense, how about this performance so far? If you would have told them before the game, hey, you're going to force 2 turnovers and only give up 10 points through the first half with this FAU offense, who's coming off an explosive victory last week against FIU, I think they would have taken it.
That's Ryan Nuss, who missed the extra point, had it blocked. Just 3 of 7 kicking field goals this season. He's had 3 of those blocked with a long of 35. 2nd down and 4. Duncan setting up the screen to Myquan Dean. Gets the 1st down, still on his feet, 13 seconds left. The clock stops for the 1st down. We'll see if they try to get up there and spike it without using their last timeout. There's an injured FAU Owl, and that's Shelton Lewis, who came up with an interception. I don't think his coaching staff is going to be too happy with that.
Just went back down again, started running off the field and went back down, maybe cramping up, but you're right. Stop the clock for Western Kentucky, so they didn't have to burn down by spiking it or call a timeout, their last one. You want to save that, obviously, if you need to set up your field goal team to run out.
And so now an opportunity for Western Kentucky to get a play call and just run a play here on 1st down without spiking it or using a timeout. It is hot. High of about 85 today. Unseasonably hot. Of course, it's always warm down here in South Florida, but it's about 5 degrees warmer than it should be this time of year. Here are the deciding factors for this one, and AJ believed that Western Kentucky could win if they rush the ball well. They have.
And they forced that 1 red zone turnover already, too.
Singletary hasn't found the end zone yet for FAU. The clock will start at the snap. Incomplete, intended for Quinn Jernigan. That clock didn't start until the snap. They did a great job of not wasting any time. As soon as it was whistled in play, the ball was snapped. 9 seconds left, though. And there's the short field goal kicker, Ryan Nuss, who had his PAT blocked earlier.
You have enough time to take a shot at the end zone here. You don't even have to technically take a shot at the end zone with the timeout left. You could still get the ball out of your hands quickly, try to find a way to get in the end zone. If not, call that timeout and kick a field goal.
If they don't get any more yards, it would be a 40-yard field goal attempt. Duncan, quick throw to the right. That was clearly marked from the get-go, but Leach fell down. Chris Leach had no chance at that. And with 6 seconds left, I'm sure that they have enough time to run a play with the, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt with the hometown clock operator. This is an FAU operator. So you've got to be really quick. Clearly they're trying to get just about 5 more yards to give them a better chance to kick this field goal.
Try something, maybe a quick slant up to the top of your screen, 3-by-1 formation, get that one-on-one. See if they throw a quick slant and then call a timeout.
1 timeout left. He throws a deep fade to the end zone. It's incomplete, and the clock runs out. I know Western Kentucky's going to try to say that there's a second left.
And Lane's telling his guys, get off the field, get into the locker room. That's exactly what you should do.
I can't believe they ran this play with 6 seconds left. Could see it with 9, but not with 6. It was intended for Ja'Cour Pearson, who was double covered. But the referees are talking this over and probably going to look to see if there should be a second left. When that thing went incomplete, I glanced at the clock and it did say 1 second.
But a lot of times there's a little leeway with that, to where
there can be.
They will usually a lot of times let another second or 2 run off. It seems like when a ball like that goes out of bounds incomplete. We'll see here what these refs decide.
There's still 0-0s. Ranella's out there ready to kick. He clearly expects that they're going to put a second back on this clock.
The previous play is under review.
I think they're going to put a second back. That ball hits, hasn't hit yet, but it hit a defender out of bounds at 2 seconds. So that should be the end of the play, and then enough leeway there to say, yes, 1 second.
It definitely looks like there should be 1 second put back on that clock.
Please put 2 seconds back on the game clock. Thank you.
They went with 2 because it did hit an FAU defender out of bounds, which signals the end of the play. Not that it matters between 1 or 2, but this could matter big time if Alex Ranella, the punter, could get this 40-yard field goal to go into halftime.
It's a gutsy call there by Western Kentucky. Taking your shot, yeah, you know you want to try to get 6, but
that was dangerous.
It was very dangerous. I thought for sure they were going to try to get 5 or 6 yards on a quick hitter and then call a timeout and make this a little easier for your kicker.
It'll be from 41, which would tie a season high for the punter, Ranella. And he got it. The reigning punter of the week in college football, the Ray Guy National Punter of the Week, can do it all. 41-yarder to make it a 1-point game at the half. It just cleared the crossbar. Down to Kristen Balboni with Lane Kiffin.
Coach, this is a close one at the half. What do you want to see from your defense who just allowed that field goal coming into the second half here?
Defense really giving up one long play on the long run. You know, offensively, we're not protecting well up front, which has caused 2 turnovers. You know, we get beat on the backside and ends up being an interception and the fumble there.
You told us that we were going to see both of these quarterbacks, Chris Robinson and DeAndre Johnson. How do you assess both of those guys' first half play?
Well, I think, you know, they both got put in bad situations with bad protection, you know, on the backside. So, you know, those 2 critical turnovers.
Coach, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. We still got a lot to come your way here at halftime. Like FAU's Herb Miller, he knows how to cook. I'm hoping that I can pick up a couple of tips from him. We are also going to learn more about James Pierre and his story, how he got to where he is today, and exactly what the heck is WKU's mascot, Big Red. We're going to try our best to find out. But first, a word from the conference. So great to learn more about James Pierre. It is 10-9 at the half. Now let's talk a little bit about Western Kentucky. No doubt about it, they have one of the most iconic and memorable mascots of all time. But what or who is Big Red? We're going to go straight to the source to try to find out.
A blob. He's a red blob. I mean, it's hard to explain, honestly.
Big Red is a blob.
Big Red is an amorphous blob.
I didn't know before I got there, but come to find out he's a big blob, big red blob.
I give Big Red handshakes, hugs. We might dance every now and then on site when we see each other, you know. It's always a good time when we see Big Red.
Just amazing ball of joy that my kids, particularly my 3-year-old son Gunner, is obsessed with. You know, he sees the water towers that were coming to my office, and you know, immediately points up to the sky, to the heavens, and yells out Big Red's name like he's there listening to him.
One of the best mascots in sports, and his Hilltoppers only down by 1 at the half. A field goal in the final seconds from 40 yards out, and Western Kentucky is right there. Just a 1-point game, 10-9 at the half. AJ Hawk, Chris Hassel, Kristen Balboni is down on the field. We'll be joining us again in just a minute. I don't know about you, but I'm a bit surprised. I thought this would be more of a blowout, especially the way it started.
Yeah, 10-9, no one would have really predicted this. I think FAU's offense, it all comes down to protection. And Lane Kiffin told Kristen on the way out, their backside protection has caused 2 turnovers for this FAU offense. And that's really the deciding factor of why they don't have more points right now. So that's something they got to clean up. I think Western also on defense, they're going to mix it up and bring their blitzes from different angles now and really just try to keep the quarterbacks uncomfortable.
Well, Florida Atlantic has been uncomfortable tonight, turning the ball over twice, one of them in the red zone, and they've scored just 1 touchdown in 4 trips to the red zone so far. As we take a look at our first half highlights, first drive of the game, Kareth White capped it with a touchdown run. On the Western Kentucky side, they had a big 3rd down, and across his body, Mike-Quan Dean opens up for the touchdown. And DeAndre Johnson came in. He was lit up on this play, ended up being an interception, one of those 2 turnovers that this Western Kentucky D forced. But on the other side, very next play, Florida Atlantic causes an interception with a hit on the quarterback as well. It's kind of been that back and forth, hard to figure out first half. And AJ, when you look at the numbers, it's all FAU. They've had the ball for 2/3 of this first half.
They really have, and you can look at the total yardage, and that just shows you that all that matters is points. Points given up and points scored. You can put up all the yards you want, but if you don't punch it in the end zone, if you don't make your field goal attempts, it's for nothing. So right there, I mean, FAU, 273 total yards and only 10 points. So you have to find a way to play better in the red zone like they did last week.
Second half just a few minutes away. We'll be right back after this word from Stadium.
Stadium is your new way to watch national sports. The only 24/7 network available on both television and digital devices without a cable subscription. You get live and classic games, daily live studio, and original programming. Check your local television listings or go to watchstadium.com. Stadium, a new way to watch sports. Stadium, welcome to the game.
(10-9), Florida Atlantic leading Western Kentucky at the break, about 5 minutes away from the start of the second half. Round Conference USA. Marshall becoming bowl eligible today. A win against Charlotte at home. It was close for a while, but Marshall able to pull away in the end, become bowl eligible, and we'll see them tomorrow. How about Old Dominion, AJ? Only down 4 in the fourth quarter to North Texas right now.
And North Texas is a great, great football team. So Old Dominion, hey, just shows you when they put it all together, they can play some great football. Let's see what's going on there, how they find a way. That could be a
and a couple of the teams that could be matching up in the conference championship game getting ready to go in just a little bit. FIU coming off its first conference loss of the season on the road in the Alamo Dome, taking on UTSA, and UAB, the only unbeaten in conference play, at home against Southern Miss, trying to stay perfect in Conference USA play. They right now have the heads up and the leg up on everybody to host the Conference USA championship game. Before the game, Kristen Balboni had a chance to mingle with some tailgaters here on homecoming.
Okay, I have been down to FAU a couple of times this season, and I have heard about the Rat's Mouth and that it is a lot of fun, pretty crazy down here, the tailgating scene, but I've never actually been in, so I'm going to go in and check it out before the game.
Looked like a fun time. That tailgating spot's got to be a mess right about now with everybody vacating all those spots coming into the stadium. I'm sure there's a few still out there watching on Facebook. You can watch on your phone, your tablet, your laptop, TV, using some of your streaming sticks. Any way you want it. And if you don't want the comments, just swipe them off to the right. 10-9. Florida Atlantic leading Western Kentucky here at halftime in South Florida on a gorgeous night. Temperatures in the upper 70s right now. Surprising first half with Western Kentucky falling down 10-0 and coming back with a touchdown, blocked extra point, and then a long field goal from their punter. What do you expect in the second half, AJ?
Well, Western Kentucky starts with the ball, so I'm sure they want to come out and get out to a fast start. Now, I'm curious to see what FAU does offensively. Who will start at quarterback? Will it be DeAndre Johnson or Chris Robinson? We saw Robinson in there for the 2-minute drill at the end of the first half, so it's going to be fun.
Down to Kristen Balboni with Coach Sanford.
Coach, you told us that if we make the plays that we know we should make and we execute, we can win this game. How do you feel about your team's execution in the first half?
Well, you know, defensively, really pleased with them keeping the points off. I mean, these guys are really dynamic offensively. You know, last week you watched the FIU-FAU game. You know, similar situation right here around the second quarter. They ripped off 42 points. So we got to be ready to come out here and play better defensively even than we did in the first half. Keep the yards down. Offensively, hey, we're making plays. We're driving the football. We got to end the drives in the end zone. And that's been a key for us. We're going to open it up, let Stephen Duncan play a little bit. He's doing a great job. He's managing it well, and guys want to go make plays for him.
Yeah, now you go into the half with a lot of momentum. What do you say to your guys in the locker room to make sure that they bring that back into the second half?
You know, we talked about this game. We wanted to come in to this environment and think about what it's going to feel like to be able to celebrate in that locker room after this game. And that's something we've been craving and we've been fighting for. And these guys right here, they know that there's going to be a job they have to do to be able to get back in that locker room with that feeling that we've been wanting real bad. So we got to want it more than them.
All right, Coach, thank you for the time. We appreciate it. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, they haven't felt that winning feeling since week 4 on the road at Ball State. They lost last week at Middle Tennessee 29-10, and the week before at home to FIU by 27. But most of their losses this season have been in extremely tight games. Lost by 3 to Maine, by 3 at Louisville, by 3 against Marshall, and by 3 against Old Dominion. And keep joining the conversation. It's a two-way street here on Facebook and Instagram. Use that hashtag WKUVSFAU on Instagram with your photos, and we'll continue to conversate with you on Facebook as well. Some homecoming Instagrams, a lot of students out. Callista celebrating homecoming, and then some sidewalk chalk. Luckily the rain stayed away, so that Darth Alzey drawing is still there. Today, some amazing chalk art created on Diversity Way. It does look pretty good. You never know how long it'll stay here in South Florida. Rain shower could pop up at any moment. 150 cans to those in need. Good job by everyone there. Western Kentucky feeling good about itself. Momentum going into halftime with the long field goal. The defense has forced a couple of turnovers, one of them from Robinson, the other from DeAndre Johnson. Robinson's was a fumble, Johnson's was an interception, and we'll see how much we see the two of them in the second half. More homecoming activities that we took in. Nice little mural being painted on this beautiful campus. We're about 2.5 miles from the beach, the Atlantic Ocean. Not a bad place to be. Always colorful, no matter what time of year you come down to Boca. Western Kentucky will get it to start the second half. And a fair catch coming out to the 25-yard line. Stephen Duncan hasn't been great, but did make a great throw on third down for the only touchdown of the game, and has only made that one mistake when he got hit and threw the interception. Here's the drive chart. A couple of times turning it over on downs after sustained drives. 7 plays, 9 plays. So they've been able to move the ball. Their last 3 possessions have been in FAU territory. They only managed 3 points on those 3 possessions.
We heard Coach Sanford say they're going to open it up a little bit for Stephen Duncan. Let's see what that means.
Hands it off here on the opening play of the second half, and it's a good run by Samuel, who has the long 61-yarder that set up the first touchdown of the game and really turned this thing around. It was 10-0. FAU was marching it down the field into the red zone its first 3 drives, and you just got the feeling that they had to score to be able to stay in this game, and they did it. And they'll have a 3rd down and 3.
I hope they start moving Duncan around a little bit, getting him outside of the pocket. Let him throw on the run when he also is an option to pull down and run, especially on a play like this, 3rd and 3. Keep everything out there available for this Western offense.
Samuel again is the running back. Kyle Fortenberry, the tight end, in motion to the right side of the formation. It's a throw. It's complete. It's a 1st down. Mike Quandine caught it about a yard short of the sticks, but able to fall forward on that crossing route. We have an injured FAU Owl. That's Soro.
Andrew Soro was in on that tackle, and Mike Quandine caught that ball in front of the sticks. He did not have the 1st down yet, and he had 2 defenders from FAU hit him as soon as he caught it, but he found a way to drive forward and fall past the sticks there for a 1st down. And Andrew Soro, who has stepped in and been very, very productive at that middle linebacker position, is still down on the field.
He's been in on the action a lot over the last few weeks. Was voted the most improved member of the defense, the redshirt senior from Miami. Called his name a lot the last couple times we've had FAU, and this defense really has turned the corner after a tough start to the season, giving up just 14 last week. You see him holding that
right wrist,
Yeah.
maybe right shoulder. You don't really know. It's something on the right, either his right arm, wrist, shoulder, something up there. You saw James Pierre, corner for FAU, make the first contact, and Soro came in second and fell kind of awkwardly.
Just to finish the point on the defense, they haven't given up more than 14 points in a game their last 2 games. He came down on that right side, and then
I don't like to, you don't want to speculate, but how he fell, I don't think it's wrist. I think that's shoulder, and he already has a brace on that shoulder, you can tell. So maybe some previous shoulder issues, and that may have done something to him. We'll keep an eye on him on the sideline and see what the trainers. He's obviously very frustrated.
well, they're already without their best defensive player, Aziz Al-Shire, the preseason defensive player of the year. Tore his ACL a few weeks ago, had surgery in Birmingham this week. And they hope to have him here for Senior Day festivities in a couple of weeks. He is the school's all-time leader in tackles, almost 400. Unfortunately, he's out of eligibility, so he won't play for FAU again. Hopefully, he'll be able to put the uniform on one last time and come out on Senior Day against Charlotte in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and Soro is the one who's kind of been picking up where Al-Shire left off, and he's not somebody you can really replace the production that he has had here before he had the knee injury. As we see Soro getting checked out on the sidelines by the trainer for his shoulder. Has to be frustrating, especially when he has stepped in and played so well this year.
So the result of the play is a first down. FAU defense in the backfield in a hurry. Leighton McCarthy bolted through along with Achilles Leroy. No gain on first down for Samuel.
Let's see if they open up a little bit. Let Duncan push the ball down the field, take some shots.
He will look to throw. Has single coverage near side, and it's caught at the 50-yard line and into FAU territory by Quinn Jernigan. It was a long throw, but he saw the single coverage and saw the DB, James Pierre, fall down.
Chris, if you see that, right before this, they shifted 2 or 3 tight ends and receivers to the boundary. Formation to the boundary, that's usually there to free up somebody, get a one-on-one coverage like they got with Quinn Jernigan on the play side, and they were going to him all the way, and he came down and made that catch.
Samuel gets the carry again. Taken down immediately by Leroy again. Boy, what a job he has done in the wake of some injuries. Seeing his playing time soar.
Yeah, Achilles Leroy obviously is very active in the run game when he's going sideline to sideline making tackles, but they use him a lot as a blitzer too. He has an uncanny kind of instinct and a knack on how to sift through these little gaps, and they just caught him creeping up on a blitz there. Let's see if they stick with it or if FAU's defense checks out of that blitz.
It's a keeper, and it's going to be a loss of yardage, but Duncan got rid of it. Didn't gain anything by it. I'm sure his coach will tell him, don't ever do that again. And he was trying to make something out of nothing, but it still ended up being nothing. Ja'Cour Pearson on the catch, and I'm not sure if that's going to be ruled a pass or a run play. It might have been a backwards throw.
It's tough to see. They're trying to make something happen there, and just a good thing he held on to that ball. FAU defenders were swarming, and they were trying to rip at that ball the whole time.
Loss of 5, and it's 3rd and 15. Duncan has time. Throws it deep down the sideline, but way too much for Pearson, who's just 5'9". And this is the 4th consecutive drive Western Kentucky has been in FAU territory. And they're going to punt it away and have just 3 points in those 4 drives.
And that was 4th and 15 there. And for the most part tonight, Western Kentucky's offense has done a decent job of not putting themselves in 3rd and long like that. 3rd and 15. They've been in 3rd and manageable between 7 and 4 yards, it seems like, on the majority of their 3rd downs tonight.
And Ranella, the great punter, with a really good one. It's going to land inside the 20. He landed out of bounds. There's a flag in the backfield, 2 of them, in fact. One on the near side, one on the far, right at the line of scrimmage. Looks like they're going to mark it at the 17 if it stands.
Illegal formation. Kicking team. Not enough players lined up on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the kick. First down, FAU.
Not enough men on the line of scrimmage here. Let's see, who are they saying was off? I can't tell from this angle exactly.
I see 6 guys, it looks like, on the line. But a couple
up here at the top of your screen. I think your head is supposed to break the belt buckle of whoever is next to you, the crown of your helmet. That's something you have to check with the officials pre-snap and make sure you're on the line.
So FAU gets it at the 22-yard line. And let's see if they can get back to doing what they do best, running the football with Kerrith Whyte and Devin Singletary. Singletary with 88 rushing yards, but no touchdowns. Whyte just 23 rushing yards. He has the touchdown run, the only touchdown of the game for FAU. They're only up 1. First possession of the second half, and Chris Robinson, as we thought, gets the call here at the quarterback position. Singletary getting a push and close to the first down. Junior Diaz, the center, just got in behind his running back and shoved him forward. First down, Florida Atlantic.
Junior Diaz loves that. You can tell he looks for situations like that where Singletary's still alive and he can go push the pile.
Singletary for 4 more. And he is now at 100 yards. We asked the poll question earlier, how many touchdowns would Singletary have in this game? And only 11% said 0. Most people thought he would get 3. Fake the jet sweep, they hand it off. And Singletary has another first down for FAU.
That's the thing for this FAU offense. They seem to come in bunches. Once they do start scoring, it seems like a machine gun attack. Just keep coming at you, punching the ball into the end zone. We'll see if they can find a way to get that rhythm back here in the second half tonight. They have not found it so far, at least consistently.
The thing that's really hurt them is negative plays and turnovers. 2 big turnovers, but Kerrith Whyte turns the corner and stays in bounds. No, they say he stepped out at the 49-yard line of Western Kentucky. Pickup of 7 or 8 on first down. Whyte gets it again, turns it back upfield. Holt spins him down, but not before he gets another FAU first down.
That was a classic little RPO, Chris. They set up a bubble screen on the outside where these receivers were blocking to throw the bubble, but Chris Robinson got the read to hand that one off.
Kerrith Whyte bounces it back inside, spins to the 40-yard line. 7 more on first down, and we'll see if these Western Kentucky defenders start to show some signs of fatigue. FAU had the ball for nearly 20 minutes in the first half.
I don't know how you can't, especially your front 4, the big guys up front. They haven't rotated a bunch.
Play action, Robinson sets up and throws. It is incomplete, intended for Durant, who's holding the left arm a little bit. Try to take a shot on 2nd and short, so it's 3rd down and 3. And Lane Kiffin, clearly it looks like Lane is calling the plays.
It sure looks that way. I know there's a question between how much Charlie Weiss Jr. is involved in the actual play calling the day of game, and it looks like Lane is calling them, but who knows?
Singletary gets a block. There he goes. Devin Singletary. Nation leading 19th touchdown of the season.
It was just a matter of time, Chris. This guy just keeps chipping away at you, chipping away all night long, and you can feel it. There's something in the air. You can tell he's going to break one eventually, and he always seems to do that. Man, I say it every time. I know we've worked multiple FAU games this year, but the consistency that he is able to run the ball is crazy to me. It's expected from him, and Lane says, well, yeah, of course he's going to give us 150 and a couple TDs at least.
Well, he's got 147. This one good for 40.
Big tight end Harrison Bryant leading the way for him. All he needs is 1 or 2 little seal blocks to give him that split second he needs, and once he hits that first crease, he is gone. There's Harrison Bryant there stepping up in the hole. Receivers on the back end blocking down the field. They know, hey, if we get our block even for a split second, we just cover our man up, Singletary will see that, he will cut off of us, and he'll score, and our offense will put up a lot of points.
Now tied for 8th on the all-time rushing touchdown list in FBS history. Closing in on a couple more. Anthony Thompson and Cedric Benson. 1 away. For another poll question, we send it down to Kristen.
Yeah, Chris, as soon as you mentioned that poll question about Devin Singletary, we just saw he scored. We got another one for everyone watching on Facebook. We want to know who you think will win the CUSA East. Your options, FIU, Middle Tennessee, or other. So go ahead and vote on that. Let us know who you think. Marshall just won their game today. They're still in it, although they need some things to break their way. There are the choices right there. Let us know on Facebook who you think it's going to be. Guys? It's wide open.
I tell you what, I know it was not great for FIU last week, but I like what FIU can do.
All they need to do is win out. They control their own fate. They win out. They, via the tiebreaker on the head-to-head against Middle Tennessee, get to go.
Yeah, I always would lean to a team like that where they control everything. They don't need help from anyone. You're not relying on someone else losing to put you in the position you want to get to. Something about it where you can take that momentum and use it to your advantage when you know, hey, if it doesn't matter, we don't need to count on anybody, just the people in this room right now. These players, this coaching staff, if we do what we need to do, we're going to get there.
Got those cool fans working on another hot night in South Florida. Garland LaFrance hoping to be able to return this kick. Still a 1-possession game. FAU has led the whole way. Took a 10-0 lead. Western Kentucky scored the final 9 points of the first half. Another fair catch. It'll come out to the 25. Checking in with the folks on Instagram using that hashtag. It's Brew Night in Paradise. We got some craft brews over there. Just outside the stadium here. And they do sell booze in the stadium.
Yeah, but guys, this is a special one from 2:30 to 4:30. They had this. They said it worked so well last year. They brought back Brew Night in Paradise. So this was like a craft beer thing. There was a voting to see which one was the best. Maybe not what they're used to, you know, out there outside the stadium usually, but it was a nice event. Salt Life Lager.
I'd try some. First and 10 for Western Kentucky. And again on the ground. Mike Sanford said this week that he's building this program around the offensive line. They had a bunch of new guys in there on the O-line this season. They took some lumps early, but said 7 of his offensive linemen will return next season, and 5 of them he'll have for another 2 years. And he really wants to make this offensive line the backbone for this program moving forward. Another injury and another arm injury for FAU. Not sure on the number there. Sonic fan in the house. How about some old school video games? It's not all Fortnite these days.
Sonic the Hedgehog, of course. That's a classic, Chris. But going back to what you said about Sanford and building from the O-line and this O-line kind of being the backbone, I mean, that's the winning formula, no question. It's like when an NFL team jumps out and drafts an O-lineman real high in the first round and people are thinking, oh, what are you doing? Well, no, it may not be the flashy pick, but guess what? That guy could be there 10, 12 years, and that's what he wants with this offensive line. The longer these guys play together, the more they gel, and every single rep they get together. And you can see he has been at some great, great institutions. And Sanford definitely has the respect of coaches all over the country. Whenever his name is mentioned, you can tell. He may be young, but he has the respect of other great coaches.
Came from Notre Dame, was the offensive coordinator there. He's been involved with some of the best in the game. Andrew Luck at Stanford, along with Christian McCaffrey, with Jay Ajayi at Boise, and Deshaun Kaiser at Notre Dame. And he says this season, you know, I could have gone with 12 to 15 JUCO guys, graduate transfers, but these are his words. He says that by doing that, you're basically telling everybody, I don't want to be here more than 3 years, because if you're going to do that now, you're going to have to do that every year. He wants a total rebuild, his guys in there, and he clearly believes that he's going to get the time to do it. And next season, he thinks they're going to be a lot better.
I'm sure that was part of his interview process when they asked him, what is your plan? I'm sure he laid that out to him, told him exactly what it was, and just probably asked that they have a little bit of patience. And as long as you're showing some improvement year to year, I think you can get that patience from the universities.
It's 3rd down and 2. Let's see what this offensive line can do. They work out of the shotgun again. They've gone with Stephen Duncan the whole way at quarterback. Davis Shanley backing him up. The handoff to Furby, and he has the first down. There was a question going into this game as to who would be the quarterback. Drew Eccles out for the season, the redshirt senior with a dislocated shoulder. Some were thinking it might be the redshirt freshman Davis Shanley. But Sanford going with Stephen Duncan, and he wants Duncan to take this thing and run with it and be the quarterback for the rest of the season. Now, he stopped short of saying quarterback of the future, because he said, look, we're 1-8. We're in no position to be naming any kind of quarterback of the future right now.
Yeah, I would imagine every position is that way going into spring ball. After you have your winter workouts, yeah, it's a time when a coach says, hey, everything is up for grabs right now. I want you guys to go out there and compete against each other, and it's going to make our team better.
Steve Leggett, the injured FAU Owl. Lane talking with his tight end, Harrison Bryant. This feature on him that our team did, led by Kristen Balboni. Seems like a great guy, and a guy who's going to get a shot in the NFL. Duncan keeps it again. AJ, you've been surprised how many times he's kept the ball.
Yeah, and they're not scared to run it. I mean, Duncan is definitely open to making the right read and pulling it and trying to get some yardage. He is a big boy, so standing 6'4", 230 pounds, I think he knows that he's a big guy for these, especially guys in the secondary, to try to bring down.
Duncan to throw this time into the flat, and going nowhere was Joshua Samuel, because defense was there. Rashad Smith, who leads the team in tackles, was all over that. It's 3rd down and 7.
Duncan probably could have thrown that ball a beat sooner and given Samuel a chance to catch that ball and maybe turn up the field. Rashad Smith was all over, but he was a step or two behind. And throwing that a little bit late gave him a chance to catch up.
5 wide again. Incomplete, thrown behind Fortenberry, and Devon Brown with the PBU. 4th down, and the punt team coming out.
FAU, their defense bringing pressure here on 3rd down, forcing Stephen Duncan to make a decision and get rid of that ball quicker than he would have liked. I like the defensive plan from this FAU team, defensive coordinator Tony Pucaro. They really mixed it up a lot. You can't really predict what they're going to be in defensively.
Manella again with a high hanger. Fair catch at the 23-yard line from Willie Wright. You don't want to miss the best college football show on Facebook, so catch College Football Weekly, Wednesdays, 7:30 Eastern. We'll preview the biggest matchups. We'll take a look back at the top highlights of the week. Also react to fans' questions and comments. College Football Weekly every Wednesday, 7:30 only on Facebook. Kristen Balboni can be seen on that show weekly.
That's my show. Thank you so much, Chris. All right, we asked everybody who wins the CUSA East. We had a poll going on Facebook. FIU coming in with 28% of the votes. Middle Tennessee, 37% of the votes, and then other, 35% of the votes. So no clear winner on Facebook there. I wonder if those are some Marshall fans chiming in. We'll find out. We love those polls. Thank you so much for voting on those. Those are a lot of fun. Now, how about this? I got something for you, a little trivia question. So Mike Sanford is the 2nd youngest coach in FBS. My question to all of you watching on Facebook, who's the youngest coach in FBS? No Googling. Let me know what you think.
Can I give a hint?
You can give a hint.
Okay, here's a hint. It didn't change from last year to this year.
But here's another hint. I don't know if this makes it more complicated. When Mike Sanford was hired, he was the youngest coach in FBS.
Yes. I think that makes it a little bit.
That kind of narrows it down a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think it narrows it down just a touch. That's a good hint, though. Thank you, Kristen. It's about Kristen's 7th trip to FAU Stadium this season. And we're coming one more time.
That's right, end of the season.
Against Charlotte. And FAU could be bowl eligible by then, or they might need that to get to a bowl game. Sanford not going to a bowl game this season. First time since 2010 that this program won't go bowling. They did go to a bowl game last season, but everything really turned south on this Western Kentucky program the last time these two teams met. It was October the 28th in Kentucky. FAU won it 42-28. And since then, Western Kentucky's lost 12 of 14 games. They were 5-2 overall and 3-1 in conference going into that game against Florida Atlantic at home. And since then, just 2 wins in 14 games.
Just shows you how tough it is to win football games, no matter what level of college football you're in.
They love that screen to the boundary, and Willie Wright got a block from his tight end, John Mitchell. They pick up 6 on first down, 2nd and 4. Western Kentucky D is going to need to stop if they want to stay in this game, but you get the feeling that things are starting to move for this 2-headed running back attack, Kerith White and Devin Singletary. Again to White, this time slipped up. He was going to go down anyway. Jalen George made the TFL.
Yeah, and we see him right now slowing down a little bit. A lot of times when you run this tempo, after big plays, of course, they're going to sprint to the line, try to get another play off. And then when you have a first down incompletion or a negative yardage play like they had there on the run that lost a couple for them, they slow it down a bit, get reset, and try to regroup as an offense.
Still no Devin Singletary on this drive. Robinson play fake to throw, and right back to Willie Wright. And Willie's got some moves, has the first down. He was the man who came through in motion. They faked the jet sweep to him and then went right back to him on the pass.
Robinson had to really step into that throw and give it everything he has. That thing traveled a long distance in the air, but Darrell Green actually with the open field tackle there made it look a lot easier than it actually was.
White reversing field, stacked up by Holt. Surprised we haven't seen Devin Singletary on this drive. The last we saw him was on the 40-yard touchdown run. Usually they try to work White and Singletary every 2 to 3 plays onto the field. And there is Devin right there. Looks okay. Got the helmet on. 22nd 100-yard rushing game of his career. Now tied for 8th all-time on the FBS career rushing touchdown list. 147 yards rushing right now in this game. See him kind of wiping the sweat off his teammate Gareth White.
Running back coach Kevin Smith here, FAU. I get to play against Kevin many times.
You tackle him a few times?
I tried.
He looks like he could still go out there just like you.
He looks good, yeah. Ernie Sims, linebackers on the staff at FAU too, I believe. Long time with the Detroit Lions.
White again, the handoff. Good swarming defense from Western Kentucky that'll set up a 3rd down as they try to get this thing back to the offense. Still a 1-possession game with time winding down here. Under 2.5 minutes in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 6. Quick screen to Durant. Gets a seal. Stepped out. We'll see where they mark it. It's going to be short of the 1st down at the 39. Needed to get to the 37. So decision here for Lane Kiffin. The offense still on the field. They need 2 yards. Need to get it to the 37. White gets the handoff. Gets the 1st down. And finally, Singletary comes back into this game.
Yeah, I wonder if that was just some scheduled rest. Keep him out of the game a little bit. He plays so hard. Absorbs so much contact. Maybe they just want to give him a bit of a spell every once in a while.
Another toss to the near side. Willie Wright make that Jovan Durant. And he's hurt. Uh-oh. In a lot of pain right now. Lane Kiffin did not mince words this week when he was asked about Durant. He said, thank God we have him. Been the MVP of that receiving core this season. Singletary taken down at the 26.
Durant really is an all-around receiver. He can do everything. Route runner, throw bubbles to him, screens. He'll block down the field for other receivers. Very valuable.
On 3rd and 1, it's number 1, Willie Wright to the 10-yard line. Robinson, 16 of 20 in this game. He's been on point. His only hiccup was a fumble. He keeps it. Goes down to the 5-yard line. Darrell Green was ready to blow him up.
I do like Robinson's attitude, as I said last week when we were here, his frantic energy, his frantic pace. Like, he is absolutely non-stop. You'll watch him signaling to the sidelines in between plays, like, hurry up, run this thing in, give us another play. We want to go right now.
That's the end of 3. Only scoring in the quarter. The 40-yard touchdown run by Devin Singletary. And FAU is threatening to go up multiple scores. Hey fans, did you know you can stream college football all season long with Sling TV for only $25 a month. Try Sling TV for free right now at sling.com. Restrictions apply. Down to Kristen.
Guys, loving all of your contributions on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm told we got some new Instagram pictures. Remember, you use that hashtag WKUVSFAU. You can see your pictures here on the screen. It's homecoming. Use that hashtag FAU homecoming as well. We are checking that one. It's a nice shot right there. Everybody out enjoying themselves. Jay Herrera 4, so proud of our Owls. Picture at first tailgate in first homecoming. Cool to be an FAU alumni. It's a nice little setup that they've got going on. Thank you so much again. Use those hashtags, and we'll keep showing those on. Now, I'm also going to update the trivia right now. So we asked you, Mike Sanford is the second youngest head coach in FBS. Who is the youngest? Chris gave you a hint. I gave you a hint. The answer, I saw it. Nick Jennings got it right off the bat on Facebook. It's Lincoln Riley. So when Mike Sanford was hired, he was 34. He's now 36, and Lincoln Riley is 35. So those are 1 and 2 when it comes to youngest FBS head coaches. I talked to Mike Sanford about how his youth is an advantage, and he said, I'm just not that far removed from the stuff that these guys are going through. He said it's a very unique generation with social media and cell phones always being present. He said, but I really feel like I can relate to sometimes that they might make some silly mistakes or have some problems. He said, that was me 10 years ago, so I always try to be there, put myself in their shoes, and help them the best I can, guys.
Good job to Nick Jennings getting that thing right on Facebook.
Yeah.
Sanford in his second season here at Western Kentucky, and he wants to be here for the long haul. Certainly seems like he's going to get at least another year here at Western Kentucky to try to turn this thing around. First play of the fourth quarter. Devin Singletary juking and losing yards.
Didn't you think he was going to take that thing to the house, Chris?
He made about 3 guys miss.
There was nothing there, and he made you a believer that he was going to turn that corner and find a way to get in the end zone, but the pursuit from Western Kentucky's defense was just too much.
3rd and goal from the 6. Robinson has been the quarterback for most of this game. He started the game. DeAndre Johnson came in. He was 3 for 4, 30 yards and an interception. Wasn't nearly as effective as Robinson has been, and not nearly as effective as he was last week in the win over FIU. I formation, play fake. Robinson cuts it straight up the middle and taken down from behind at the 4-yard line. Interesting look from this FAU offense going I formation. And now they'll attempt to kick a field goal. Make this a 2-score game.
Robinson did all he could there on the sprint out. 2 defenders actually overran him. He tries to cut it back up inside, but the pursuit was coming inside out. And Western stands up again to force another field goal attempt.
Revis 1 of 2 on the night. Not pretty, but it works. 20-9. FAU with 13:27 to play here in the fourth quarter. So check this out. Most avoided tackles by an FBS running back according to Pro Football Focus. And it's not even close. Devin Singletary has avoided 74 tackles.
Wow, if he's avoided 74, what has he broken, 200? I mean, that's the thing.
Good point.
A lot of times before he even gets to the line of scrimmage, he's made 1 or 2 defenders already miss. And he just has that knack. When you see him run, he just has such a feel for where the opposing defenders are and where his own linemen and receivers are blocking for him. He just kind of slithers through and finds his way through all the traffic. You never see him really run into the back of any of his own blockers, which happens a lot, especially in inexperienced running backs that just want to shove everything up in there and just try to get every yard as they can. He has the patience and the confidence, I think, in the feel to just kind of let everything develop, take his time, and then once he hits it, he's gone.
Has 147 yards tonight, went over 4,000 for his career, the first FAU back to do that, and he's only a junior. Also moves into a tie for 8th place on the all-time rushing touchdown list.
And he could be back here next year, Chris, just shattering every
Would love
kind
to
of
see him
record.
back. Now, they don't know if they're going to get him back. Not sure yet what he's going to do with running back in the NFL, not having a very long shelf life. Usually, if you're good enough to go, you go as soon as possible. The question is he good enough?
Yeah, and that's another added bonus of having Lane Kiffin as the head coach, who has head coach experience in the NFL. He's been there. He has contacts in the NFL still. I'm sure he still talks on a daily basis to many coaches up there. And I guarantee you, Lane will give him his honest opinion on where he stacks up against guys at the next level.
Sure, he'll get it from Charlie Weiss as well, who's just a couple booths down. His son, Charlie Weiss Jr., 25 years old, the offensive coordinator here at FAU. Fortenberry on the reception. First down, Western Kentucky. Will need to make something happen here. Down 11, but still plenty of time. 13-15 to play.
Western, this offense is going into the little 2-minute mode here, picking up the tempo, picking up the pace. They don't have to throw it every play. They can mix in the runs with the passes, but have to have a sense of urgency.
Again, too much on it, intended for Ja'Cour Pearson, who's shown that he can get behind the defense. But Stephen Duncan has struggled tonight, does have the one touchdown pass to Myquan Dean, but just 88 yards through the air, 14 of 22. And several times he has overthrown his receivers and hasn't given them an opportunity.
Yeah, he's got plenty of arm. That's definitely not the issue. Just needs to find a way to hone that in, have a little bit more accuracy.
Straight ahead running for Joshua Samuel, who is nearing 100 yards. 61 of them came on one play in the first half. He's up to 96. Third down and 8. Here on homecoming at Florida Atlantic, trying to even up their mark at 5-5 and take a 2-game winning streak into a short week as they go to take on North Texas Thursday night. Incomplete, wide of the target, Quinn Jernigan. He was open.
Yes, he was. He was beyond the sticks, too. He just threw that too wide, out of bounds. Didn't give Jernigan a chance to hold that one in.
Sanford, a quarterback guy, having a word with one of his tight ends, Kyle Fortenberry.
I like the disposition that Sanford has on the sidelines. And speaking with him, he's not freaking out. I mean, they're 1-8. You would think everyone's walking around on eggshells, losing their mind. But he knows that's not going to help this team. He's building a culture around here that he hopes will pay off next year, the year after that, and down the road. And he's trying to build his team from the ground up. So I think he's on the right path.
I don't think he's going to be happy with his punt coverage there. There's a couple of those guys let that ball work against them all the way back to the 35-yard line. A look at the top 10, and Alabama, another ho-hum performance, beating Mississippi State 24-0. We still have the game between Clemson and Boston College to come, Notre Dame and Florida State as well. Notre Dame does not have its quarterback, Ian Book. He won't play in that game. Michigan wiped the floor with Rutgers, as you would expect, 42-7. Oklahoma barely in Bedlam, squeaking by Oklahoma State by 1.
I mean, look at Washington State, number 8 there. Just continue to churn out the victories. A 31-7 win. Ohio State takes care of Michigan State and West Virginia over TCU. That Georgia-Auburn game will be interesting. Let's see what happens there.
First quarter, 3-0 Georgia.
If they can put an impressive blowout victory on the board over Auburn, I wonder if there's any kind of shakeup.
Could be some big-time questions to be answered if several teams win out, like a Washington State, like an Oklahoma, like an Ohio State. All of a sudden, if that happens, and all three of those teams could win out, if all three of those teams do win out, who would you put? How would you rank those teams? 1, 2, 3, as far as chance to get to the college football playoff.
We put Washington State in there?
If Washington State I'm saying if Washington State wins out, they're there with 1 loss. Ohio State's there with 1 loss, and Oklahoma's there with 1 loss. Who gets the best shot? You know, if there's only one spot.
Yeah, I would say it's between Ohio State and Oklahoma. I don't know if I put Washington State in there, even though Mike Leach is one of my favorite humans on the planet.
Okay, eliminate Washington State. Who is it?
Choice
if it's between Oklahoma and Ohio State.
Honestly, for me, it depends how Ohio State looks against Michigan. I care about the style of victory. If they beat Michigan, if they just squeak it out, it's kind of a sloppy game, defensive battle, whatever. But if they can go and Michigan comes to town and Ohio State can put up good numbers and a lot of points against Michigan, then I may have to give them a nudge.
Utah State playing right now on Facebook and blowing out another opponent. They've scored 60+ already. They're going to move to 9-1 with their 9th straight win. They're 14th in the AP and not even ranked in the college football playoff rankings.
That Utah State offense is scary, Chris. I mean, if I was the defensive coordinator, I knew I had them on my schedule. I don't know. I may fake an injury for that game, fake an illness.
They are fun to watch. Hey, I'd love to see, not that this has any chance of happening, but I'd love to see an FAU team play a Utah State in a bowl game. Now, I think Utah State would absolutely be a favorite, but these two offenses going head-to-head kind of do things a little bit differently. Florida Atlantic on the ground, Utah State through the air. I just would love to see the committee give Utah State some respect, and they're giving them none.
At some point, it's got to happen, doesn't it? I mean,
well, Fresno State was the only ranked team in the Mountain West heading into the week. They lost to Boise. They're going to fall out. Robinson going deep, and it's caught by Pico. Tight walking inside the 10. Pico Harrison.
Robinson coming off the play fake, the pump, double move here. Pico Harrison almost finds a way to stay in bounds here and get in the end zone.
Kareth White to the 1.
Watch this pump fake right here. Robinson was going to Harrison all the way. Got the matchup he wanted. Fit it in there before the safety can get over the top. That was Kyle Bailey, the safety, coming over that basically saved a touchdown.
And Harrison is having a big night. 3rd reception, over 90 yards receiving now. 3 receptions for 94 yards. That's over 31 a clip. Injured player for Western Kentucky, as they tend to Juwan Jones. Ahead of a 2nd down and goal from the 1-yard line. FAU looking to perhaps put this thing away for a 2nd consecutive victory. Devin Singletary, haven't seen a lot of him the last couple of drives, but he's got his numbers already. He's up to 147 on 21 carries and a 40-yarder for a touchdown here in the 2nd half.
This offensive line for FAU, they know that if we just do our job for 1 or 2 seconds, Devin Singletary is going to make us right. Even if we don't supposedly make the block with the right leverage we are supposed to, like it looks in the playbook, it doesn't matter. He will make you right. Just cover up your guy, cover up your man, and give him a crease, and he will find it.
And he is out there on the 1-yard line.
22nd career game with 100+ yards. You got to be kidding me. I talk about his consistency all the time. There's really something to that. I mean, you can't say enough about that. The fact that he's even in the lineup to do that is a huge.
Staying healthy.
It's amazing. Durability is a skill. I have said that for years.
And look, the team was bad to start this season at 3-5. Some bad losses, nothing going right, except for Devin Singletary. He was the lone constant for this team.
And he seems like the ultimate team guy as well, always complimenting his offensive line, his quarterback, everyone around him.
Second and goal from the 1 after the injury. He's got a big smile on his face. You got to expect, if you're Western Kentucky, that 5 is going to get the football.
You would hope. Reward the man. I know he has a ton of touchdowns already, but it seems like every touchdown that they score, throwing or running, is set up by Devin Singletary.
Robinson gets the call from Lane and or Charlie Weiss Jr. And that defense has to be tired. On the field for almost 20 minutes in the first half. And FAU has run all over them here in the second half. They finally whistle it back into play, and Singletary's the running back to Robinson's right. Singletary's got it. And he's now tied for 6th on the all-time FBS career rushing list. Number 64 for the junior.
Was it ever a question, Chris, of who was getting the ball there? 1 yard line going in. It doesn't even have to be blocked right. Devin Singletary is going to find a way to get in the end zone.
Rivas on for the extra point. It's now a 3-score game.
Running into the boundary away from where the majority of their blockers are. That may look like a little bit of a zone read. I'm guessing that was a give all the way. Yeah, I don't even think Robinson was reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. That was a give to Devin Singletary 100% of the time. And wow, 64 rushing touchdowns.
Now tied for 6th all time with Anthony Thompson and Cedric Benson, who played at Texas. Ricky Williams and Kenneth Dixon next on the list, and he is knocking it out of the park. That's a celebration we saw from Lane Kiffin in the locker room after the blowout win in the Shula Bowl last week. They're finally having some fun again here in Paradise.
They have to bring the Lane train back.
All aboard.
Seems to have just, it's been a little quieter than it was in the past here. Now they definitely need to bring it back. Think about that. If they win this game, they'll be 5-5. That sounds so much better than 4-6. Feels so much better. You have 2 games left after this to try to win one of them and become bowl eligible.
How about this? North Texas lost to Old Dominion tonight. 34-31. Old Dominion comes back.
North Texas shut out in the 4th quarter. That says it all right there.
28-10 at halftime, and Old Dominion fights back to beat the Mean Green.
I did not see that coming, Chris.
Who had North Texas with 3 losses in conference and FAU with 3 losses in conference?
Mason Fine and North Texas offense just was hitting on all cylinders when we were there week 1.
Blowout of SMU. 27-9, FAU has it in control now. They've led the whole way, but Western Kentucky cut it to 1 at the half, and they had all the momentum after a touchdown and a field goal, and they got the ball to start the second half. But on 4 straight possessions, they took it into FAU territory, and only 3 points to show for it over those 4 possessions. That really cost them tonight. It was a good ball from Duncan, but unable to pull it in was Myquan Dean. There is a flag, though.
Looks like Shelton Lewis may have gotten there a step early.
Pass interference. Defense, number 3. 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Well, Florida Atlantic has come to play defensively again, gave up 21 to Louisiana Tech in a losing effort, and then just 14 last week in a winning effort. So it's supposed to be the strong suit of this team coming in. They return almost every starter. And it certainly looks to be going that way toward the end of the season. Almost intercepted. It was right in the breadbasket of Zion Gilbert, who almost kicked it back up to a teammate, but it falls incomplete.
Once again, this is caused by pressure. The push from the front 4 of FAU's defensive line was sitting right in the lap of Stephen Duncan. He couldn't step into that and had to throw that a little earlier than he would have liked.
Duncan still not over 100 yards passing. They're barely over 200 for the game. Lucky Jackson, one of the few times we've called his name on the screen pass, picks up the first down.
A bit surprising that we haven't heard more from Lucky Jackson. I guess when your quarterback hasn't gotten into 100 yards by now, not many receivers have heard. We heard a lot from.
Duncan's mostly been going to Jernigan and Myquan Dean, along with Pearson. These guys have almost every target in this game. Lucky Jackson with just his first catch of the game, followed by that pickup by Jernigan, and now Garland LaFrance on the edge. Penalty marker is out. You could see that from all the way up here. Lucky Jackson call for the block, and then another late flag on a potential hit out of bounds.
We're going to have offsetting here or what, Chris? Lucky Jackson, I tell you what, he was fighting hard for that block on the outside. It looks like they threw a flag on him. He's arguing it. Achilles Leroy, I think, is going to be called for a late hit. Could read the lips of that referee right there.
There is no foul on the play for offensive holding. After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, defense number 36. 15 yards will be added to the run, first down.
You're right, that is Achilles Leroy. Having to be calmed down by his teammates. You see Soro there, who left the game earlier with an injury to his right arm or shoulder.
He's obviously upset. And I agree with them picking the flag up on Lucky Jackson. I thought that was just a good hard-fought block he made.
LaFrance on the screen, lowered the shoulder and initiates the contact. I thought they were going to get him for a block in the back is what I thought they were going to get on Lucky Jackson. Here's what this defense has done. The first 8 games, they were getting up 36 a game. Last week, 14, tonight, 9. Game's not over, obviously, but a vast improvement.
They're definitely trending in the right direction defensively here at FAU.
Hand off to Samuel, who spins to the 16-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 5 for one of the lowest scoring offenses in the country. Came in averaging just 19 a game, 125th in the country. But it's hard to score when you don't have not just a good quarterback, but a quarterback, a consistent quarterback. And they've started 3 different quarterbacks, multiple games each this season. 3 guys have multiple starts, including now Stephen Duncan, who rumbles to the 14-yard line. Not easy to move that big 6'4", 230-pound frame. And it'll be 4th down, 7:15 to play. Field goal would make it a 2-possession game.
It looks like they're going to go for it, and the secondary just locked everybody down there for FAU. Stephen Duncan had nowhere to go with that ball. He wanted to get rid of it. He really did, but he couldn't even find the tightest window there to let it fly.
Just 3 for 16 on 4th downs this season. Duncan to Myquan Dean, and it's 1st and goal. Dean may not be down yet. He wasn't. He fell on the back of a defender, on his back, on top of a defender. And Zion Gilbert's got to be careful. That's the 2nd time after a play that an official has had to come over and get in between he and a Western Kentucky player. And that's Leroy, who committed a personal foul earlier on in this drive. Look at Dean on his back, falls right on top of Leroy, who's shaken up.
Almost on the bottom of his neck, just landed all of his weight right on him. Watch Leroy, 36. Yeah, his shoulder was up above, extended above his body too. Both of them, it looked like that cannot feel good. Myquan Dean, 6'4", 240 pounds too. He's not a small guy, just falling on top of you with both your arms extended over top of your head.
I want to say hi to Jerome, who's been watching on his phone. It's one of the things you can do. It's a great picture, no matter how you watch games on Facebook. Dean has that only touchdown of the game for Western Kentucky way back in the first half. He's made two of the biggest plays on offense so far as Leroy is kind of stretching out that left arm or shoulder.
Both these teams have to be exhausted, Chris. I mean, they're used to playing this many plays, it seems like, just because the offenses that you face. But man, they're laying it all out there, especially. This isn't a particularly hot night for people in South Florida, but it's definitely humid like it always is.
Pearson in motion. Give to Furby, and he reaches across the goal line for the touchdown, Hilltoppers. Extra point would make this an 11-point game.
We're going for 2.
Book usually says kick an extra point here, get it to 11, and then if you can score another touchdown, then you go for 2. But there's only 6:17 left. Play clock under 10. Looks to be some confusion there. Kyle Fortenberry throwing his arms up. They have to burn a timeout. Wow.
You do not have to. That was the last thing I was going to say. That's the last thing you want to do is waste a timeout here.
Timeout.
I mean, it would have been
Western
better.
Kentucky.
Just take the penalty and kick the extra point.
It will be 30
Take the penalty, even if you want to go for it. At least you gain some space. It's not as compressed. You can still go for 2 from there.
And when time is so valuable with 6 minutes to go, yeah, you're right. Last thing you want to do is waste a timeout. But Furby into the end zone for his second touchdown of the season. He's been one of the top backs here the last 3 seasons. And when we were talking with Mike Sanford this week, he was telling us that they're actually in a better place right now than they were a year ago. He says the effort is there, the way we've practiced and stayed together. It's not a fractured locker room. Our culture is in a stronger place today than it was a year ago at this time. He said last year there were some seniors on the team that had only been used to winning and winning double-digit games every season. And when things kind of went south last season, they went way south. 2-point conversion is no good. Lucky Jackson was the intended receiver, and I don't know what happened. It must not have been a good pass because Jackson usually catches anything thrown in the vicinity. So it's a 12-point game, and it means you're going to need 2 touchdowns too. There's the Lane train getting going again, folks. Stadium with a new fall lineup as we begin the day at 10 o'clock Eastern with the Territory, and then take you through the biggest stories in sports all across the country, heading into Sauce and Schramm at noon. Then it's Emerge, Campus Insiders, and the Rally, Game Time in America at 6 Eastern. Stadium, a new way to watch sports. Down to Kristen, is it raining down there a little bit?
It's raining just a little bit. I have not put on the rain gear. It feels kind of nice, I gotta say. Hey, we are checking Instagram. Remember, using that hashtag WKUVSFAU or FAU Homecoming also works. Hey, congratulations to the Homecoming King and Queen. That happened at halftime. Both congratulations to both of them. That's awesome. Oh, and we got a dog picture in team gear. You know I love it. Cooper on a bike, I need to know more about that, is wishing he was hashtag winning in paradise in the warm weather. But it's okay, he has his FAU football homecoming scarf. So Cooper even celebrating homecoming from there. Absolutely love it. Love using that hashtag WKUVSFAU. Thank you so much. Now, we got one more poll question for all of you guys. We always love when you vote. We want to know who you think should be the player of the game. So we got 2 options for you, and I really like this. Number 1 is Devin Singletary. You can vote for him. Or the FAU defense as a whole. That's your other option. Certainly feels, AJ, like they've been able to put it together, as you were just talking about. And Lane Kiffin said, we really thought our identity was going to be as a defensive team coming into the season. And whatever they've done over the last 2 weeks to turn things around, it has certainly worked.
Yeah, can we vote for both, Kristen?
Why not?
FAU defense and Devin Singletary.
There are no rules here. Vote for both.
You don't want to leave either of them out, you know? Singletary is the heart and soul of this offense, and he has been for a while now. And now with how well this defense is playing, I mean.
I will say Devin's won it a lot, so.
So maybe give some love to the FAU defense.
Yes.
I think I may choose them as well.
I think he'd be okay if we didn't pick him.
Yeah, you're right. He seems like he's definitely a team-first guy. I know every time you've interviewed him, he's always pumping up his defense, this offensive lineman, and the play calling. So, yeah, why don't you give FAU defense a shout-out?
Absolutely. He's deserved it every single time he's won it, too, and certainly make a case for him tonight, no doubt about it.
Well, we'll see if they attempt an onside here. Down 12 with 6:17 to go. Nuss is their short field goal kicker, who doesn't normally handle kickoffs, and it looks like they will attempt an onside. Good hop, and Western's got it. It's dead there. You can't return it, but Western Kentucky with the perfect onside kick, and there's Lucky Jackson. The wide receiver factoring in more with special teams than on offense.
Look at the fake out so they don't know which side it's coming from. This was executed perfectly. You want that high hop right there to go over that second line. The first line usually in the hands team are the blockers, and the guys behind them are the ones who are supposed to clean up that ball right there. Harrison Bryant was designated to get that ball, but it was such a perfect kick. That thing went right over his head.
And that was Alex Ranella, the punter, who was also out there with Ryan Nuss. So Ranella has a 41-yard field goal, his only field goal attempt of the game. He's also punted it a bunch and has converted on an onside kick. And now we've got a game. Over the middle, caught. Myquan Dean. Move the chains, stop the clock. 6 minutes to go. Not over yet.
You have called Myquan Dean's name a lot tonight. He seems to be one of the favorite targets of Stephen Duncan.
Duncan looking left, throwing near the sideline, and there's Jernigan. Got his hands on it, but incomplete. The coverage from Shelton Lewis.
It was a scary throw there by Duncan.
It seemed like it was up in the air forever.
It did. Multiple 2 or 3 Florida Atlantic defenders in the area, too. Looked like it was almost going to be tipped up in the air, and one of them would have most likely come down with it.
Well, Dean heads to the sideline as Kyle Fortenberry checks in at the tight end spot. Furby's the running back who had the touchdown run last drive. He gets it for a handful, if that. Look at Ranella. Nuss with the fake out, and Ranella, the reigning national punter of the week.
I'll tell you what.
Getting it done, AJ.
He's earned himself some money on Sundays, eventually showing all that he can do with his leg.
3rd down and 8, wasting a lot of time. Pocket holds. Wide open, Myquan Dean to the 10-yard line.
This just shows you how valuable a big athletic tight end like Myquan Dean is. He seems to be wide open. He has a feel for the coverage. He knows when to sit down if he's facing zone coverage, or to keep running if they are in man-to-man defense. And look for him here in the red zone too.
It's 1st and goal, and Duncan is sacked. That's Ernest Bagner. Happy birthday, Ernest. He turns 21 tonight. And he leads the team with his 5th sack of the season. And Western Kentucky with mass substitutions here, 2nd and 13. They cannot get a first down, by the way. The ball was marked outside the 10, but they called it 1st and goal. So it's 2nd and goal. Duncan steps up, throws, incomplete. Deflected by James Pierre. Didn't see the receiver that it was intended for in the deep corner of the end zone. Duncan thought he had his man. Did not see Pierre as he went for Lucky Jackson.
Lucky Jackson, it looked like from up here that thing was a touchdown. He buys some time with his legs, and Pierre with the athletic play to get his hand on the ball and almost come down with interception.
Well, here's the problem with going for 2 there, and why the book says you should kick the extra point to get it to 11. Because you kick the extra point, it's at 11. You could kick a field goal on this drive and cut it to a 1-possession game. Now they need 2 touchdowns to win it.
But who is the author of that book, Chris?
Statisticians.
I'm with you. Got both hands on the ball. James Pierre did. That would have been tough to come down with that. Initially, I know he was scrambling to make that play anyway, so heck of a job to get both hands on that ball. This place would have exploded if he would have came down with that interception.
Does not have a pick this season. Leads the team in pass breakups. That was his 8th. 3rd and goal. Again, they've got to get it in the end zone. Cannot get a first down at the 1. End zone incomplete, way over the head of Quinn Jernigan. Now you got to go for it.
Never gave Jernigan a chance there. Obviously just throwing that out of bounds and forcing really the play of the game here.
That's been his biggest issue of the night. A lot of way overthrown balls. Too much mustard. Let's see if he can come through on 4th and goal. Nope. Wasn't going anywhere anyway. And it's a turnover on downs for Western Kentucky. Disappointing after getting the onside kick and really having a chance. They had 1st and goal at the 10-yard line. And Duncan just kind of fell apart.
Water.
See Coach Sanford really coaching him up, letting them know when you are in this situation sometime in the future, this is the progression I want you to go through to give us a chance. Using it as a learning experience. Hey, valuable reps.
Stick around for our Facebook player of the game. Do you like Devin Singletary, or do you like this FAU defense coming through again? They've got a blocked extra point as well. We'll include the special teams in the defense like you do in fantasy football. Holding Western Kentucky to 15 points. Shelton Lewis had a big interception in this game in the first half.
Getting pressured all the right times too. Mixing it up on 3rd down, bringing some pressure, sometimes dropping 8. When they have brought an extra man, brought 5 or 6, they seem to have affected the quarterback one way or the other, and affecting the quarterback to make that ball float, causing turnovers. This FAU team, when their defense is playing at this level, they're going to be tough to beat.
We're giving up 36 points a game the first 8 games of the season, but the last 2 weeks, giving up about 15 a game. And the week before that, they only gave up 21. Unfortunately, they only scored 13 and lost on this field to Louisiana Tech. Snapped a double-digit home winning streak. Looks like they're going to start another one tonight.
I mean, everybody wants to play their best football towards the end of the season. College, NFL, wherever it is, you want to play the best when it means the most. Now, because of the hole they dug themselves, FAU, they're just fighting to try to make it to a bowl, but at least they're trending in the right direction and hopefully can ride some of this into the offseason.
Handoff to Kerrith Whyte. Some credit to Lane Kiffin. I think most coaches, after what happened last week with DeAndre Johnson replacing Robinson, I think most coaches would say, all right, DeAndre, it's DeAndre's job. Chris, you're now the backup. He didn't. He said it worked last week with Robinson starting and Johnson coming in. We'll see if it works this week. It didn't. So he went right back to Robinson, who's been the much better quarterback tonight.
You're right, 17 for 21, 231 yards passing for Robinson, and he's looked great tonight. And maybe the threat of that, knowing that he was coming out after the first couple of series and knowing that there's always somebody right behind you, that drives him. He does seem to be a competitor and wants to be out there with his team.
Whyte tries to slide down inbounds, and he does. Keeps that clock moving. Heads up play. And it was good enough for a first down as well.
It is a feel thing, though, Chris. That's not easy to do when you're deciding who is going to be playing quarterback on the next drive. Credit to Lane Kiffin for not pulling Robinson and keeping him in, letting him get in that rhythm and not just switching up just to do it. Like, okay, well, you had a 3 or 4 series. Now it's DeAndre's chance to have a few series. No, you rode the hot hand tonight, and it's worked out.
Kerrith Whyte has had just as many touches as Devin Singletary. Singletary with the 2 rushing touchdowns, Whyte with 1. And look out, good night, South Florida. Kerrith Whyte, 77 yards.
At any moment, this is a threat for this FAU offense. No matter who is in at the running back position, Kerrith Whyte or Devin Singletary, they can break it. And you always have to worry about that. If they get past that first line of defense, good luck finding them. Good luck catching up.
Extra point is good, and maybe we rethink the Facebook player of the game. Kerrith Whyte, all of a sudden with better numbers than Devin Singletary.
Untouched here, Chris. The offensive line, the tight ends, receivers, everybody does their job. And when they do, this is what it looks like. Not a hand laid on Kerrith Whyte here. This was never in doubt. Touchdown all the way.
What we learned, Chris, what about what we learned about Kerrith Whyte earlier this week? He gives all the guys on the team haircuts.
That's right.
Does he cut his own hair too?
Yeah, it looks like
a nice little fade there.
Yeah, put a little shallow bowl
He
on
is
top
the
of the head
team
and shave it all
barber.
off.
I don't know if he cuts his own hair, but I know he cuts everybody else's.
I tell you what, that's a valuable skill to have on a college football team. You have 90, 100 players walking around the facility. You're allowed to charge for that, aren't you? You can get $5 or $10
I was
from
just
his
going to ask
teammates.
you, does the NCAA allow you to charge?
They better. You kidding me?
Well, maybe we'll give him a chance to cut Kristen's hair before the final game of the season.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I wish I was coming back. I need my sides cut.
Hey, look, I got to say, everybody on this team down on the sidelines, their hair looks great, but I don't know if I'm willing to go that far.
No fair catch this time from Garland. He's going to take it himself. And he gets it out just across the 25-yard line. And the fans have spoken. Our Facebook player of the game, Devin Singletary, with 66% of the vote. The defense and special teams getting a little something, getting some love. But Devin Singletary tonight becoming the first 4,000-yard rusher in program history, and also moving into a tie for 6th on the all-time FBS career rushing touchdown list.
I guess this was a win-win question. No matter who won, who you picked, they're all winners here. FAU defense, Devin Singletary, just what he has already done here and accomplished. And just tonight, just business as usual for him.
And a sack. Tim Bonner made a couple plays in the backfield tonight.
This is when games are fun. This is when it's fun to be on a defense. You're winning 34-15, minute 40 to go.
Pad those stats.
Absolutely.
Meet at the quarterback.
If you are an outside rusher or an interior D lineman, you are doing everything. You're throwing every move you have at those O linemen trying to get there.
Now that was a bit surprising to me because given what we were just talking about, how you know they're passing the ball, how could you do a shotgun play fake and not think you're going to get sacked? There's Singletary. How much, if at all, do you think we'll see from him at the next level?
I mean,
he's so
100%
short,
better get a chance. That's a good thing now with teams. There's a lot of teams that don't have one workhorse 3-down back. A lot of teams have multiple people. You have like your big banger guy that's 230 pounds is going to get you those tough yards. You got a little scat back that you can put out in the slot receiver at times.
Is there a comparison? Is there anybody that you can look at that's doing it right now in the NFL that reminds you of what Singletary might be able to do?
So he's listed at 5'9",
which means he's probably
5'7". Yeah, I don't worry about the height as much because those guys are tough to find through the big, tall linemen.
Aaron Jones and Ito Smith, short guys, doing well in the NFL.
Yeah, he's a powerful guy, though. I don't think of him as a scat back by any means. He is a powerful, has very powerful legs. I don't know how much he squats. I'm guessing it's a lot. And his vision and patience are what I think sets him over the top. He needs to go to the right place, a team that will use him the right way and have a running game that is kind of catered to how he works best.
Some on Facebook asking what about the comparison to LaShawn McCoy.
It will be 30 seconds.
He's a little more of a power guy than I think LaShawn McCoy.
This is the 1-2 punch again, and Kareth White. Poor Kareth White. I mean, he's always playing second fiddle to Devin Singletary. He's got the better numbers, and we don't even consider him for Facebook Player of the Game because he did it too late. 163 rushing yards, just reeled off a 77-yard touchdown moments ago. Singletary has a 40-yard touchdown run himself, but 4 touchdowns combined between these two. And they're both juniors.
What about Kareth White? He may not be back either.
Well, I was just going to ask you, what do you think of his game at the next level?
His game may translate to the NFL a little better than Devin Singletary's does, at least projecting out. I feel like Kareth White is a little bit more of a burner, has that extra gear.
He's a great kick returner.
Kick returner, the more you can do, you can put him in routes out of the backfield. Versatile. They love versatility at the next level.
Final 30 seconds. And Florida Atlantic is going to even up its mark at 5-5, get within 1 win of bowl eligibility. And have a very short week. Quick turnaround. Lane Kiffin wasn't very happy about having to turn around in just a few days and go to North Texas. But surprisingly, North Texas lost tonight at Old Dominion. So they might be showing up at just the right time. You get a down North Texas team,
or just the wrong time. It's like playing the Patriots off of a loss.
You never want to do that.
I think that's overblown a bit.
When North Texas, they've already clinched a bowl game. They can't do anything in the division. Not a ton to play for, other than you're playing against the defending Conference USA champs. If you're Florida Atlantic, you win on Thursday, you are bowl eligible.
Timeout.
And then potentially playing
Western
to
Kentucky.
improve the bowl.
It is
And Lane
their
Kiffin
third.
said
It will be 30 seconds.
before last week's game, usually he preaches, like most coaches do, want to know every week, want to know every week. It's about this week, it's about this game, this team, and win it, don't think it. He said, look guys, we're 3-5. We need to win 3 of the last 4 to get to a bowl game. If you are motivated by getting to a bowl game, getting free swag from bowl games, getting a free trip, a free vacation, use that as motivation these last few weeks. And they have.
Whatever it takes, Chris. You got to find a way to get to these guys.
And we also have Mountain West football on the stadium. A couple of bowls have Mountain West tie-ins, the Hawaii Bowl and the New Mexico Bowl. A lot of really good teams out in the Mountain West that I'd love to see in a bowl game. Incomplete with 2 seconds to go. One more play.
It's a real thing, though, Chris. When you go to a bowl game, I don't know how much money it is now, like the NCAA allows in bowl gifts that you're allowed to receive, but way back in the day, we got like one of those old school camcorders. You get a PlayStation. You get all
that really
kinds
dates you if they're giving out camcorders.
You get some great technology. That wouldn't go over well these days.
Duncan in trouble, gets out of it. He's going to throw it back across the field. It's Jernigan making the grab at the 11. Inside the 10, diving, got close to the pylon, but they're going to say he's out. And we are out of time. They'll start a new home winning streak. It ended at 10 last time on this field, but they begin again. Lane Kiffin and the FAU Owls lead from start to finish, and even up their mark at 5-5 as Western Kentucky falls to 1-9 and 0-6 in Conference USA play. Kristen Balboni will be speaking with Lane Kiffin in a moment. He's probably not going to want to talk very long because he's going to want to get right into the film room to look at North Texas. Kristen?
Coach, we got to talk about this defense. You said going into the season you thought that this would be the strength of your team, and it certainly looks like it has been the last 2 weeks. What's clicked for these guys?
Well, they played good, you know, throughout the game. There at the end, we kind of screwed up some with some backups and stuff, but, you know, they're just playing better, not giving up as many explosive plays.
You told me after last weekend's game at the Shula Bowl that you hoped the momentum would carry over. You said you felt like it had in practice. How are you feeling about the way this team is playing as you head into a short week at North Texas on Thursday?
Well, it was a sandwich game in between a rivalry game and a short week, you know, versus North Texas. So at the end of the day, you know, the most important thing to get the win. It wasn't pretty the whole time, but, you know, we stopped the run for most game and ran the ball for over 300 yards.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for the time. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Kristen. Great job as always. Florida Atlantic continuing to rise up the rankings. They were near the bottom a week or so ago at 1-3, but 2 straight wins. And they've evened up their overall mark and their conference mark. And 2 more games to play. Love to make a statement at North Texas on Thursday. It's a 9:30 Eastern game, so Florida Atlantic fans going to have to stay up late for that one. And then back home in 2 weeks against Charlotte on Senior Day. We'll have that for you right here on Facebook. For AJ Hawk, Kristen Balboni, and our entire Stadium on Facebook crew, I'm Chris Hassel saying so long from Boca. Singletary with 2 more rushing touchdowns. Kareth White with 2 more rushing touchdowns. And the Owls have salvaged the season